You got a point.
That
You got a
man's
point.
ACL is more fragile than the guy that sold SpongeBob and Patrick those chocolates.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome to another episode of Movement Radio. I am Chip Hazard.
I'm Talon Williams.
I'm Roger Sierra.
I'm Braden Howard.
I'm Chad Queen.
And tonight, ladies and gentlemen, it's all about the AFC, our bold predictions for the AFC, all the division winners. Let's not fuck about. Let's just get right into it. What are we doing first, Raj?
All right, so since four of us have a specific division here, that person's division, they're going to speak last on their division. So let's start with probably the weaker side, and that's the AFC East. Oh no, the South will be the weakest side technically. But let's just start with the East and go on from there. So I'm gonna have Claw open it up. So let's see some spicy takes already.
You know some spicy takes already? I've got some. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about the New England Patriots first. So as of yesterday of this recording, Ezekiel Elliott signs a one-year deal worth up to $6 million. Now, and I don't know what everybody else is going to think about that. I'm sure you'll all speak on it. To me, Ramondre Stevenson will very clearly be the RB1 in New England. Without a doubt, I don't see that changing. Zeke will be used, but he'll be used more of a change of pace back, maybe taking some goal line carries, that kind of thing. But what they really need to focus on is Mac Jones at the moment. He's got to take a huge step forward as a passer, and Bill Belichick needs to let him do that. He needs to let him make mistakes. He needs to let him come in and actually make some throws or try to make some throws to get things going. I think that's going to actually happen this season. I know they're still going to run the ball, they're run heavy, but with Bill O'Brien coming back, I think that's going to make a huge difference in the offense. I really do. I don't know if y'all heard about this. Monday at practice, Mike Gesicki actually mildly dislocated his shoulder. So he's out for a little while. They're tied in there in New England. He's expected to be back by week one. My thing for the Patriots is, though, we all know Bill Belichick. We all hate Bill Belichick. It's fine. It's whatever. He's a great coach. He's been coaching since 1975. He's been the head coach of the New England Patriots for 21 years. Is that rope getting shorter between him and Robert Kraft? Like, I know they've headbutted. Is this towards the end of the line? If he doesn't make the playoffs again and again and again, is he going to be out in New England? Let's talk about the Dolphins for a second. The main thing, my main concern with Miami is, can Tua stay healthy? Can he stay healthy? He got really hurt. I know they've got these new, I guess you say it, Vicus 01 helmets that are supposed to really protect you and prevent concussions and all those sorts of things. They've been around for a little bit, not very long. They're newer. I know like Patty Mahomes and a couple of other quarterbacks use them. Tua was actually using those throughout OTAs and stuff, trying to get used to it, seeing if it helps, that kind of thing. So we'll see. We'll see when it comes to that. Who's RB1 in Miami? They've got a three-headed monster. Right now on their official depth chart, Raheem Mostert, the oldest back, is still the RB1 there. I think he'll be that way, but I think it's going to be split, especially with Jeff Wilson still there. They really like him. Devon Achane coming in as a rookie, he's going to be really strong, really stout. He is just exploding in camp. People love him. They like what he can do, pass catching, all that fun stuff. My thing with him is can they really make a push to win this division this year? This might be one of the last couple of years that they have to do it at this moment. That is yet to be determined. So we'll see. Jets, big storyline of the offseason. The team that's on Hard Knocks right now. A-Rod comes to town. He gets paired back up with Nathaniel Hackett, won 2 MVPs in his elder age in Green Bay just a few years ago with him. We'll see what happens there. Breece Hall activated on the PUP list as of the day of this recording. He's back off of the PUP. He's back in. He's ready to go, but it's like 12 hours before Dalvin Cook gets signed. $1 million deal up to 8.6, or 1 year deal up to 8.6 million. Is it a true split backfield now? Or are they just going to let Brees continue to take the reins and kind of do what they're doing, what I think they're going to do with Ramondre and Zeke? Dalvin Cook is a little younger than Zeke, I believe, but not by much if he is. So we'll see what's going there. Time for Garrett Wilson to shine. He's got him a quarterback. He's ready to go. He's ready to step up. Garrett Wilson is the man. He's the one to watch in New York. The Bills. Is this the year that Josh Allen and the Bills actually step up and overcome the powerhouse AFC teams? AFC has been stronger for a while. I believe it's going to stay that way again this year. Is history repeating itself? We all know from 90 to 93, that 4 Super Bowl stretch where the Bills just couldn't get it done. They got there, couldn't get it done. Are we seeing it happen again? James Cook taking over as the RB1. He's looking great. They love his pass catching skill. They love the energy that he's bringing. They moved on from, who was it? Devin Singletary, which was also a good running back, but now it's James Cook time to shine. Gabe Davis, for this team to contend, in my opinion, every good team that's making a playoff push towards the end has 2 good receivers. Not just good, actually, great receivers. Most of those teams. The Bills are the only team that's short of that right now in my eyes. Gabe Davis has to step up. I know they're going to use Dalton Kincaid a little more as a pass catcher, but Gabe Davis really needs to put a foot forward and actually make something happen. So my standings, here they are. I know at least one person is going to be pretty pissed off at me for this one. Be ready. It's fine. Patriots at the bottom again, might not even finish 500. Coming in third in this division, I've got the Miami Dolphins. I've got the Dolphins coming in at third. They're going to make a good push. They're going to be above 500. They still might even, 3 teams from this division might make the playoffs. I don't know yet. The Jets in second. Bills are going to take it out. They're going to go do business, do their thing. They could blow this division away as tight as it is, or they could get another tight finish. We'll see.
All right. I'll pass it over to Chip then next.
All right. Similar to Chad, I'm gonna start with the Patriots. Like he said, Bill Belichick's been around. I think he essentially burned last season by using Matt Patricia as his offensive coordinator. I think the offense will look different under Bill O'Brien. If you think about the better years in Houston, when they were winning the AFC South, Bill O'Brien was their head coach and their play caller. And it wasn't until he became their general manager and everything else, along with head coach, that team kind of fell apart. I think that the Patriots, what they need to contend for a wild card spot is their pass catching group, which they are lacking on at the moment. And the other question mark is, can Mac Jones be above average? We're not sure yet. Moving on, I'm going to move on to the Dolphins. The Dolphins roster is actually good enough to hoist the Lombardi Trophy. Defensively, Vic Fangio can lift this unit to levels that we saw under Brian Flores. Offensively, the skill group of Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and the dynamic rushing attack of Mike McDaniel calling the plays, that's really good. The big question mark, like Chad said, is can Tua stay healthy? Because their backup quarterback is not good at all. So they really need to keep Tua healthy. Next up, I'm going to move to the Bills. So after posting a combined 46-66 record from 2010 to 2016, the Bills have delivered double-digit win seasons for the last 4 years to rack in 47 wins and only 18 losses. Josh Allen regressed late last year 18 touchdowns to 10 interceptions with an 87.5 QB rating in his final 10 games. But that could be attributed to his UCL injury. The question here when it comes to Buffalo is their rushing attack and the health of its defense. If Von Miller returns with limitations and the James Cook, Damon Harris combo lifts the consistency of the run game, the Bills can go as far as anyone. Finally, I'm going to talk about the Jets. Last year, the Jets went 7-10 with the worst quarterback situation in the NFL. The worst quarterback situation. Running back Breece Hall missed 10 games last year. If Aaron Rodgers is not playing at MVP caliber level, or I'm sorry, if he is, then he elevates the entire offense and takes the pressure off of one of the best defenses in the league. If Rodgers is simply a top 10 quarterback and New York avoids any significant injuries, this team can challenge Kansas City for the AFC title, in my opinion. Here's how I have my my rankings going. I've got the Patriots at the bottom going 8-9. Next up, I have the Dolphins in third going 10-7. I have the Bills going second at 11-6. And what pushes me to that is because Allen has that UCL injury that the doctors have told him he should have surgery for, which is essentially Tommy John surgery that puts baseball players out for a year. He's still going to be chunking the ball without having that fixed. I got the Jets winning the AFC East with a record of 12-5. Yeah. Next
All
up.
right. I'm going to pass it over to Braden now.
All right, so I'm going to start off with the Dolphins. So pretty much this year, the Dolphins have all the potential in the world. But with their situation with Tua, like we've said the previous two times, you're walking on a tightrope. You have all the potential in the world on this offense, on this team. But if you fall off that tightrope, you're screwed. Everything comes crashing down in a matter of seconds. Tua, he's good. If he's healthy, you've got all the weapons in the world. Mike McDaniel's going to call an awesome offense. We've seen them come back on the Ravens, pass for 500 yards. They can do legit stuff, but it's all about health. And then, it's not to mention that there's offensive line problems at the wazoo over there. So, if you lose Teron Armstead, God, that's bottom 5 offensive line in the league. So let's go to the Patriots next. So about a year or two ago, the Patriots go on all-out shopping spree. Let's go grab this. Let's go grab this. It's almost like you're a kid in the candy store and you're like, let's grab this, let's grab this. You get home and you're like, oh man, I didn't even realize I got this. They got guys like Mike Gesicki. I completely forgot he was over there. But Mac Jones, I honestly think he's honestly holding them back. You look at it, this Patriots team, low key. You look at some of the Brady teams, this Patriots team with the defense and Ramondre, low key, it looks a lot like the Brady teams, has all the potential in the world. But I don't think Mac Jones can do anything with it. I just don't think that he will do anything with it. I don't think he's that good of an NFL quarterback. Hopefully, Bill O'Brien gets it right. Hopefully he sees Mac did something successful at Bama and he can carry over those things. Bill O'Brien's a pretty solid play caller. Hopefully he gets Mac Jones on the right track. But it's like what was stated before. The wide receiver and pass catching options in New England is subpar at best. Devontae Parker. Juju is a solid piece, not crazy good, but it's Juju. Going to be a nice slot piece. Ramondre is going to be awesome. Really, really good RB1, but unfortunately, New England is very running back by committee. Zeke's going to steal a lot of goal line touches, which I absolutely hate. That sucks for Ramondre. I love Ramondre. With the Bills, can they finish? For the past 4 years, we get all the way to the playoffs, divisional, AFC Conference Championship. We see Stephon Diggs, just stand there with his hands on his hips, watching everybody celebrate. Are they going to finish? I mean, you get all the way to the very end every single year. Are they just unlucky? And it's like what was stated before. I mean, you see a lot of these playoff teams in the conference championship, they have numerous wide receiver twos who are top tier. You are going to need a second option. Whenever your wide receiver one is being double teamed, you're having to go down the fourth quarter, you've got to score. You have to have numerous options. Gabe Davis, got to step up. Typically, rookie tight ends do not pan out in the first year. It's very, very rare. Very, very rare. But Dalton Kincaid has a very solid chance of breaking out. He's in a great situation. Hopefully their window is not finishing. Hopefully not ending soon. I really hope it's not. I mean, if Von Miller can stay healthy, defense gets going, a lot of those guys are getting older on the back end. Let's hope they finish. When we go to the Jets finally, the defense is top tier, 110%. Top 5 defense in the league. What's cool about this, I like the concept that they're going with, is you look around at the entire team as a whole, it's a really young team for the most part. But what they did was they're almost hitting fast forward on the team. They're throwing A-Rod in there. Pretty elite quarterback. And you're wanting to say, hey, let's compete now. Because we all know that Zach Wilson was not going to get them where they wanted to be this year, by far. So we're airdropping Aaron Rodgers in a situation where he is surrounded by great young talent with Garrett Wilson, a top-tier defense. Now it's just, Aaron, we gave you weapons. Let's see what you got. And then you even gave him Nathaniel Hackett. You know what I mean? That's 2 MVPs. By God, go do it. Wilson, I honestly think, is a sleeper low-key for Offensive Player of the Year. He was out there balling out with Joe Flacco and Mike White. I mean, my God, you give him Aaron Rodgers, that's holy cow. I mean, that's fantasy gold mine. I mean, my God. But when it comes to the division finishing at the bottom, I've got the Patriots, number 4. Number 3, I've got the Dolphins. Number 2, I've got the Bills, surprisingly. And then number 1, the Jets. It's very, very thin, but it's splitting hairs, honestly. The only thing I say that's the biggest difference is the AFC East is really, really hard this year, and the Bills have 2 more games that you're not going to be able to write off, and that being the Jets. Now you're competing 110% every single division game this year.
And Roger is disappeared. Can you unmute yourself, Talon?
Yeah, I just did. Sorry.
Oh, well, give us your take, and we'll let Roger go last since he wants to walk away.
Yeah, I know. I guess I'll just go ahead. But first and foremost, that's first and foremost. Secondly, we'll start off with New England. Okay, you got Zeke. Okay, cool. I mean, and Ramondre Stevens needs to be that guy at the running back spot. He is probably the best running back that they've had probably in the last couple of years. He's very, very good at what he does. And Mac Jones definitely has to step up. The offensive line definitely has to improve. Yeah, they got Juju and Parker and those, but it's like, are they going to be the answer for him? Are they going to be to Mac Jones what Bethel Johnson and David Patton was to Tom Brady? You know what I mean? Is it going to be that kind of dynamic? I don't see it happening. And when it comes to the defense, other than Matthew Judon, who do they have on that defense? Let's be honest about it. I guess I got to talk about my Dolphins next. Again, it all boils down to Tua. Can Tua stay healthy? Because we have elite players at the wideout spot. We have Tyreek Hill. We have Jalen Waddle. We have a good running back in Raheem Morris. Like, we have all the weapons that we need. And not to mention on the defense side, we still have Christian Wilkinson. We still have Jalen Phillips at linebacker. We have Xavier Howard on one end and Jalen Ramsey on the other. Whether or not Jalen Ramsey is going to be the quote unquote best corner in the league, we'll have to find out this year. Although seeing the way he's played the last 2 years, I have my reservations, but that's for a different discussion for a different time. When it comes to the Jets, I cannot sit here and say that the Jets aren't going to be among the best in this division simply because of the fact that Aaron Rodgers is there. As overrated as some people think he might be, he's still a hell of a lot better than Zach Wilson. On top of, and also the fact that, Garrett Wilson, he's coming into his own as a wide receiver. And if you flip to the defensive side, Sauce Gardner, even in his second year, is still going to be up there as far as the best corners in the league. Breece Hall is going to be back running the ball again. So it's going to be a good dynamic between those guys. And when it comes to the Buffalo Bills, they have Stephon Diggs, but again, Gabriel Davis has to step up. The biggest concern I have with the Bills is Josh Allen's elbow. He needs it. See, I said this a couple of months ago. Just have the Tommy John surgery. You don't have to tank the season. I mean, obviously, do what you can during the season. Improve the team so when he comes back, you guys will be ready to make a run. Unfortunately, they don't want to do that, Josh. I worry that Josh Allen is going to end up screwing himself in the end trying to make the team better, if that makes sense. Like, I don't want him to throw away his whole career because he wants to win now. I'd rather you take a year off and be able to play another 8 to 10 years, as opposed to you don't do something about it, your arm really gets fucked up, and then you have a career-ending injury, or you don't last as long as you should, or you're going to end up in a backup quarterback spot somewhere. And with Von Miller coming back on the defense, if he can stay healthy and consistent, that's something else that people need to worry about as well as far as the defensive side goes. That being said, in fourth place I have the Patriots. In third place I have the Miami Dolphins. In second place I have the Jets. In first place I have the Bills. And I think the difference between the Bills and the Jets is probably going to be 1 to 2 games. I honestly think it's going to come down to the last week of the year to determine who wins the AFC East. And I think the Bills will have a slight edge over the Jets in that regard. So I'm going to go Bills, Jets, Dolphins, Patriots.
All right. I guess me real quick on some highlight points. Much like everybody here, the consensus idea of the Patriots being their weak receiving core, and Mac Jones is going to be the starter, but should he be the starter is the real question. Should they put Zappe back in if Zappe even still there? Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Because when he filled in for Mac Jones, he was playing a little bit better in my opinion, but he didn't have. I guess they don't have he hadn't had enough experience, whatever their excuse was for putting back in Mac Jones. Then moving on let's go to the Dolphins. I said it before. I say it all the time. The Dolphins have all the potential in the world. They're a great team as long as Tua is on the field. Once Tua is not on the field, they become the Dolphins of the past. They become non-existent. They don't know how to coordinate apparently at all, and they just don't win games. I didn't like the fact that they rushed Tua back on the field last season, and I hope they don't rush it this year either. Maybe he does sit a game out at the beginning of the year. Hopefully he's back to 100 like he's supposed to be. The big thing about this division is the Jets versus the Bills for the number one position, like we've said before. Jets got a fancy toy. I'm not going to say new toy because he's like 107 years old in football years. So Aaron Rodgers, you guys know how I feel about him. I think he's overrated. I don't think he deserved those last 2 MVPs. Should have been Derrick Henry and Cooper Kupp each year. But he's still able to bring up receivers around him, and he still has that cannon of an arm. Breece, I loved him. I thought he would have been rookie of the year if he didn't get hurt. I think to be honest, I think the Jets might have been a 10-7 team instead of 7-10 because of him. That's just how good I believe he is, and I think he's probably gonna be the number one running back in a year or two. That was weird. And then with the Bills, same thing. Chip and Talon said that elbow injury, should have had surgery on in the offseason. I love Josh Allen. Probably my favorite quarterback to watch right now. I don't think it's smart for him to do the win now. Like Talon was saying, they could have afforded a year and probably gotten a high draft pick and been able to build another whip around him, or use some more cap space to move around back and forth. I still think the Bills will win, probably by a game or two, but the Jets will probably go further in the playoffs, actually. And then I have Dolphins third and Patriots fourth for that division. Everybody can go ahead and unmute so we can probably have one little roundtable about discussion about this. So what are you guys' last thoughts on the East before we move on to the South?
So real quick, a couple of things. The UCL injury, he did have a partial tear.
Mm-hmm.
So that can actually heal back on its own. I'm looking now. It says if the tear can be treated without surgery, which is the route that he went, the recovery may last anywhere from several weeks to several months. So he should be good to go. That's not saying that I know it's a ligament issue and all that stuff. Not saying that it couldn't re-injure very easily, but
Right.
I think there's more of a risk of re-injury than it's still bothering him today. They've not, I've not seen a whole lot on it in camp and stuff like that. Also, one last thing. I just want to say how happy I am to see DeMar Hamlin back out on the field. It is insanely impressive what that dude's doing. And I can't applaud him enough.
Man, you can thank God for that one, bro.
Yeah,
You
definitely
can thank
agree.
God for that one, bro.
I actually have DeMar Hamlin as my comeback player of the year.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I already know.
Who else
back
could
to
it
back
be,
comeback player of the year is Brock Purdy.
I don't know if you guys have seen it yet, but literally, Damar Hamlin, out of all the awards, I don't think I've ever seen it before, but if you go to any sports book right now, it's minus odds for comeback player of the year. It's minus 300 right now.
Yeah. That's
and he don't even have to be like a Pro Bowl player to get it. Like he's gonna get it.
Yeah, I think if he finishes the season,
he's got to be on the field for more than half the year, I believe.
I think so.
Yeah, but I think he'll.
I mean, didn't Alex Smith get it after his leg injury, and he only played a couple of games?
Yeah.
He played. I think
he might have even played one.
No, I think he played 4, didn't he? I think he played 4. Yeah, he played 4 games. He finished out.
Still, like you don't have to.
I think he went 2-2. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to come back and do a whole lot.
Yeah, I don't think there's like a minimum. Well, probably more than one game is the minimum requirement. Probably is all it is. But no, for sure. I
know we were talking about Tua going down. I think everybody mentioned that. They don't have Teddy Bridgewater anymore. No, I just want to throw that out there. They've got Mike White, which was in New York with the Jets last season, and behind him is Skylar Thompson, which we seen a little bit of snippet of last year for Miami. Wasn't terrible, but that's their quarterback room right now. That might be the most lackluster quarterback room in the entire league.
This year, yeah.
I will say at least in this division. There might be other quarterback rooms that are a little bit more, but yeah, definitely this division is definitely.
I'm trying to think of a worse one right now. Probably Raiders
or
Steelers.
Who's Cardinals?
Cardinals.
Oh, the Steelers low key have a good quarterback room.
Who? Steelers?
Yeah, kinda. I mean, they've got a lot of potential, but nothing is shown yet. But
would you say the Colts?
We'll talk about them. Steelers.
Yeah.
No. I was suggesting. Yeah, we'll talk about the Colts here in a minute.
But let's go ahead.
We're coming up on the South. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and move on to the South. I'm actually going to let Talon speak on first on this one. So go ahead, Talon. You got the floor.
All right. Well, I guess we'll kick it off with the Indianapolis Colts. Obviously, drafting Anthony Richardson out of the draft to, I guess, be the successor to they've been trying to find a successor for Andrew Luck, and they've had this revolving door of quarterbacks that have happened over the last. I don't think that it's working. If it didn't work the first couple of times, I don't think it's going to work now. But yeah, getting him, I do think, if I'm not mistaken, I could be mistaken. Let me go to their roster just so that I'm not mistaken. I believe the backup quarterback is. Here we go. I believe the backup quarterback is Garner Minshew, if I'm not mistaken. Let me get down here and find the roster. Boom. Here we go.
While you're looking that up, let's be honest. Gardner Minshew's the starter.
Is Garner Minshew the starter? Okay, cool. All right.
Don't play, guys. Stop shaking your heads.
All right. Anyway, so Garner Minshew, Anthony Richardson, Sam Ellinger. They do have Kenyon Drake, and Zach Moss and Jonathan Taylor. So they do have some, running backs, some good running backs in the road. Isaiah McKenzie's still there. Michael Pittman Jr. is still there. And they do have good players, but the problem is there's no cohesion with the team, and especially when it comes to the defense. I mean, you have DeForest Buckner there, Shaq Leonard's still there also, but again, this team has been lackluster. I mean, this team was the same team that blew like a 31-point lead, going into, I think it was the loss to the Vikings, I think it was like a 35-point lead or something like that. I have to go back and look, but yeah, this team is more than likely going to be at the bottom of the barrel again, as far as the season goes. Next, I'm going to move on to the Tennessee Titans. I think the Tennessee Titans wants Derrick Henry. I want to know who their quarterback is going to be. Is it still going to be Ryan Tannehill? Are they going to try again with Malik Willis? Are they going to try again with? What are they going to do? Ryan Tannehill is a serviceable quarterback, but he's kind of in that like Kirk Cousins, Derek Carr kind of range. It's like he's not the quarterback that's going to wing you the game, but he won't lose it for you either kind of thing. So I do think that there's a dynamic there. The Titans, Bud Dupree's still in Tennessee. They still got a good defense around them. Can Derrick Henry, be the Derrick Henry of old? He is getting older, and running backs break down as their careers get closer to the end. So we'll definitely see what happens there. I'm going with I'm going to talk about the Texans next. DeMeco Ryan comes in, his first head coaching job. They have CJ Stroud. I think they're probably going to start the rookie week one. I think that's probably going to be what's going to happen. Damian Pierce as the running back. I think he's going to come back and he's going to get progressively better. There are questions on the offensive line and the receivers. The defense, I think the defense will get better because of DeMeco Ryan is a defensive-minded head coach. Play defense, as a matter of fact, for he's played for many good teams in the past, and I think he's going to do good this upcoming year. And then you got the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jacksonville Jaguars have proven that they are the team to beat in this division. I think Trevor Lawrence has come into his own. He's realizing who he is now, and he's kind of the elder statesman, from the standpoint that a lot of these teams are going to probably start younger quarterbacks sooner rather than later. And when you look at the totality of what they still got Christian Kirk, even though many people might not look at him as a top 20 wide receiver, he's still a very good wide receiver. The defense is really good. They know how to put pressure, especially the front seven. I think that Jacksonville was probably, and they had amazing comebacks from, the against Baltimore, and they had that comeback in the playoffs against the Chargers. So there is a good chance for them to win this division, I think. In fact, call me crazy, but this is how I have the division shaping up. I have the Jaguars winning the division, followed by the Houston Texans, the Tennessee Titans, and the Indianapolis Colts. That's the way I got it. I yield the rest of my time.
Okay. Not what I expected. But go ahead, Braden. You can go second.
All right, so I'm going to start off with the Titans. So something a lot of people forget, that last year before Tannehill had his injury, before Henry went down, they were the number one seed in the AFC. Like, that's something a lot of people forget. Vrabel will will this team to win 110%. Something I love is the D-Hop acquisition for Tennessee. So it's really dependent on if we get prime D-Hop or if he starts slipping into, oh man, I'm going to Tennessee so my career can die like Julio and Randy Moss. But I really like Traylon Burks this year. Second year wide receivers always have such a high percentage of breaking out. And something that's lucky for Traylon Burks is you've got a proven vet that's out of this world on the other side of you with D Hop. So you're not going to get 99% of the looks. You're actually going to have pretty good targets, but it's not all going to you. All the pressure is not on Traylon Burks anymore to make something happen. And all the workload is not going to Derrick Henry, so that's good for him. He's not going to break down this year, hopefully. He's coming up on 30. Let's hope they don't run him into the ground. I mean, it's a long season, Let's go to the Colts next. Anthony Richardson, it's a risky pick with how he performed in college. A lot of teams are going very, very high payout right now. They want to take that risk so they can get like the next Mahomes. You saw with the Niners going with Trey Lance. He has a ton of potential. Hopefully the Colts surround him with protection, with weapons so that he can live up to the hype. He has all the potential in the world. You go out, you get a 6'6" tank who can do backflips and chuck the ball 70 yards. My God, I hope he can. Although the team does have like a low-key dark cloud over him with Jim Irsay, not a big fan of the guy. Jonathan Taylor, my God, I wish they'd pay the man. They run him into the ground. Something that's really cool to imagine is being in shotgun, just run the read option with Jonathan Taylor and Anthony Richardson. Just good luck defending it, Hopefully Michael Pittman breaks out this year. We keep hoping for it. Dude's got legit all the talent in the world. Finally, as a quarterback, let's just hope he can get the ball there and survive long enough. Texans, the prodigal son returns home. So this is kind of a best of both worlds scenario for the Texans. You get, a proven player who has played for you, who the Houston fan base absolutely adores. He was a great guy, great player. Awesome for the organization. Not only that, but dude's a good coach. Coming from San Francisco, dude's a solid coach. So, like you guys said, the defense is going to get a definite uptick. So, I think that's something in the draft. The organization almost couldn't even decide what they want to do because you had Stroud, you had Anderson. You want to give D'Amico his pass rusher. You want to get the QB of the future. So, I thought it's pretty cool that they went both. You don't see that much. So, let's see. Let's go with the Jags. So I think this year, Trevor Lawrence hops into the tier of not elite, not Mahomes, not up there, but he gets into like right below. Not necessarily elite, not Mahomes in that tier, but right below. Dude takes that next step. The offensive skill position in Jacksonville, out of this world. Calvin Ridley resurgence year. It's coming. Get ready for it. The offense looks really, really good. Defense, if they can take the step, going to be really, really solid down there. Shout out to Trevor Lawrence for surviving Urban Meyer. Don't know how he did it. Shout out to the guy. My God. Shout out to the kicker too. Poor guy. But gonna go with number 4. Gonna go with the Texans. Number 3. Gonna go with the Colts. Now, this is a lot similar to a lot of the other divisions in the AFC South. It's going to come down to splitting hairs here. It's always the top 2 teams fighting it out. And it's probably going to come down to the very end because a lot of these schedules come down to very end of the year divisional games. So at 2, I will put the Titans. I just think that time's running out on them. They've tried for forever. This squad getting old. And then finally at the very top, the Jags.
All right. Go ahead and let Claw go ahead and say his piece.
All right. So, going to start off with the Texans. Okay. It's funny to me that they drafted CJ Stroud so high and then continued to give Davis Mills first team reps. Drove me crazy. We know who's going to get the starting job. It's going to be CJ Stroud. Let him run with the first team. Finally, this past weekend, CJ Stroud or Davis Mills finally got pulled. CJ Stroud started taking all the first team reps. So we know he's going to be the QB1 for this team. He's got drafted that high. He's got the capital. He's got the money. He's coming in. He's a bigger dude. He's going to be a better quarterback than Davis Mills. Time will tell how quickly that takes in Houston because of everything that they've been through in the past several years, because a lot of the stuff came from the top down and it really showed on the field. Growing pains are coming for the Texans with a new QB coming in, a new head coach in Ryan's coming in, which I love that dude. I truly do. I just hope this isn't a Jeff Saturday thing. Like, I hope it's not. That dude is so smart. He's so football savvy. He's got a great IQ. Let's see if he puts something together, because I think this division would be fun to watch, even on primetime football, if the Texans were good. Damian Pierce, from what I've seen so far, is clearly the RB1, even though they got Devin Singletary. He is clearly the RB1. They've been playing it out that way through camp, preseason game 1. He's not even out there. Like, we know who the RB1's going to be. He earned that spot. But draft capital wasn't great, and guys like that tend to dwindle down after a couple of years. It just happens in the NFL, which really sucks for guys that come in and bust their ass, like him and the guy from the Jaguars a few years ago. I can't remember his name right now. But, yeah, Brandon Cooks is out, and you're bringing in a lot of good young wide receivers now. And, I mean, you got Tank Dell, you got Nico Collins, hopefully coming back healthy. Let's hope. You got who is Xavier Hutchinson coming in. You got 2 rookie wide receivers that could probably come in and do something. We'll see. We don't know what's going to happen there. But speaking on those wide receivers, Tank Dell is looking great so far. That dude is undersized, but he's an athlete. So that'll be fun to watch. Colts. Boy, Anthony Richardson named QB1 as of today. That is fantastic for that team to not have to worry about that. Like, there's not a competition. It's not going all the way through OTAs in preseason. We know who their quarterback is now. I like knowing ahead of time. That's just me. I think the bullshit where they bounce back and forth and try to keep it hidden, that Matt Nagy bullshit that he used to do. That pick with Anthony Richardson in the draft is pure upside. It is a pure upside pick. If he hits, he's going to hit. He reminds me, size, stature, the way he plays. If he comes out and he does anything like Cam Newton done, he's going to be fun to watch. That dude, I don't personally care for it, the pick, but if it works, it works. Jonathan Taylor turmoil with owner Jim Irsay is just it shouldn't be happening in the public eye. Jim Irsay is an absolute moron. I would say it to his face. I don't give a shit. The dude's an idiot. He doesn't know how to run a football team. On that note, they are saying that Jonathan Taylor is set to be coming back. He's expected to be coming back soon, quite possibly even within the next week or two. But his stance hasn't changed. I believe he plans on coming back, even if he's not saying it out loud, because that's a lot of money to miss once he comes off of that injury report. He would be giving up money to sit out, but he still wants to be traded. Don't let it get sideways. Even if he's there, the dude wants out because Irsay is just that kind of guy. The team did have a visit with Kareem Hunt. Not sure where that stands at the moment because Kareem Hunt's going to visit with Minnesota, so he's bouncing all over the place. I think it's a thing like, oh, he's still there. He's left. He might have some production left. We'll see. I think Kareem Hunt's going to get one final contract, and that'll be his joyride out of the league. Let's see here. Let's talk about the Jaguars for a minute. I don't remember who said it earlier. I think it was Braden. T-Law, Trevor Lawrence, this is his year to step up, take his place, his rightful place as a high draft pick at the top of the quarterback list in the NFL. I don't think he's going to be up there with Mahomes and Allen and Burrow and Hurts, but I do think he's going to go up there and he's going to compete with some of these pocket passers, even though he can rush a little bit with people like Justin Herbert. That type of caliber player, it just took him a little longer to get into it. He also did have to deal with Urban Meyer's stupid ass for a long time, and that was just wild. It's funny seeing a team like that turn around as soon as the bad energy and the bad vibes are gone. And they were a playoff team last year. It's insane. Let's see here. Calvin Ridley, time off. He's back, joins up with this team, and is expected to be the wide receiver number one. He will be the wide receiver number one. He's already taken over reps from Christian Kirk, who is still a solid player. Great choice for a wide receiver two on this team. And the backfield is what I'm aiming to watch. This backfield is going to be fun to watch with Travis Etienne and Tank Bigsby. Tank Bigsby's coming in. He's going to get more play time than anybody expects him to. The dude's fun to watch. He is literally that. His parents knew it when they named him. He is a tank. That dude's going to come in. He's going to break some bones. Let's talk about the Titans for a second. I think they lost their last 7 games or something last year. Insane. Absolutely blew my mind. Had the division taken care of. They are a sneaky good team. Even this year, they're trying to add pieces. They're going to push Derrick Henry. They're riding Derrick Henry until the wheels fall off, which is bad for the running backs. But damn it, that dude's good. And it's going to work for the team. My thing is, if they fall behind early, if they don't get off to a good start, when is that transition point to put in Will Levis? Because it's going to happen if they're a losing team at halfway through the year. I don't want it to happen. I don't want Bananarama to come in and start putting mayonnaise in people's coffee. I don't want to see him eat bananas with peels on it. I don't give a shit. Wear your expensive suits, sit on the fucking sideline. Don't even put a headset on. Like, I don't want to see this dude on the field, but he's going to get on the field. He'll probably be the starter for this team as of next year. But this year, I think the Titans stay in the race just enough to fight for a playoff spot. And he doesn't see much playing time unless Tannehill, let's be honest, he's old if he needs a break or if he gets broken. D-Hop's arrival, does he still have it at 31? Can he get it done? We've seen what he could do in Arizona. He's still an athlete. The dude is good. I don't know. We thought that about Julio Jones when he started bouncing around. Like, they're not that different of players. D-Hop just scores more touchdowns. Like, that's all it was. So we'll have to see what D-Hop's got left in the tank for this division and for football in general. I want D-Hop to be good. DeAndre Hopkins is fun to watch. Is this Derrick Henry's last run? Is this his last run with the Titans? He will get signed somewhere else if he ends with the Titans here. His contract is up after this year. He will be a UFA, unrestricted free agent. I don't know where he's going to go. I don't know what he's going to do. He may be a lifer. He may re-sign for another couple years. They may start letting some of these other backs come in and do a little work for him. I don't know. But what I know is this year, that dude's still going to be good because he's still Derrick fucking Henry. And he's going to come in and he's going to plow people over. And if they continue to get him involved in the passing game, that dude is hard to stop when he gets going. So, my final standings for this division. Sadly, I have the Texans at the bottom. I don't want them to be there. I believe they're going to end up there. I think it's actually going to be a really tight race between them and the team I have in third, which is the Colts. Those two could absolutely switch places depending on the Jonathan Taylor situation. Because if Jonathan Taylor's not on that team and he's not running, it's down to rookie Evan Hull. And I think that kid's good, but is he NFL ready? I got the Jaguars coming in second. I got the Titans squeaking this one out and winning this division like they should have last year. I really think they can get it done. I don't think these teams or this division is good enough to get anybody except the division winner in the playoffs. I think the Jags actually missed the playoffs this year. So I do have the Titans taking it, Jags second, Colts and Texans. Toss up depends on new head coach, bad ownership. We'll see what happens.
Oh, okay. Go ahead, Chip. Let you talk about your division.
All right. I'm going to start off with the Jaguars. So getting rid of Urban Myers, that fixes a shit ton of problems. Things didn't look so good last year. They started the season 3-7. 3-7 and made the playoffs. Think about that for a second. Everything changed when Doug Peterson got there. In the last 7 games, Trevor Lawrence had a QB rating of 103.4 with a 12 touchdown to 2 interception ratio. They also ranked 9th in total DVOA over that same stretch. Now they're going to add Calvin Ridley. Wow. Next up, I'm going to talk about the Titans. Proved to be an odd-off season for the Titans. They let a lot of veterans and starters go. They even put Tannehill and Derrick Henry on the trade block. They tried to trade both of those guys. No teams were interested. Absolutely zero. They bring them back. They add D-Hop. But is it good enough? They still have a solid defense. Is Tannehill still that guy? Can he pull this team through to the end? I don't know. Is he better than Will Levis? I believe so, but time will tell on that one. Next up, I want to talk about the Colts for a minute. As we know, Anthony Richardson is going to be QB1. While the rookie quarterback experience, they have plenty of struggles. We know that. We've seen that. When's the last time we've seen a true rookie NFL quarterback come in and light the NFL on fire? But when you add Richardson, add Jonathan Taylor, and even Michael Pittman Jr. on the field, that offense should be exciting. But the defense has its inconsistencies. So will they be competing for a playoff spot? I don't think so. Finally, I want to talk about the Texans for a minute. The Texans finally have 2 cornerstones, CJ Stroud and Will Anderson Jr. They've got someone to build their offense around, and they've got someone to build their defense around. I love this. You add D'Amico Ryans. I think he was the best coaching candidate last year, and I just hope and pray that they allow him to do his thing here in Houston. I will pray to whatever God I have to that they allow him to coach. With that being said, the Texans still have one of the worst rosters in the NFL. There's a lot of inexperience on this team. And they're likely going to finish with their highest record in 4 years. That's a low bar to achieve. How I have this division going, I've got the Texans dead last. I think they go 5-12 this season. 5-12. I've got the Colts in third, barely beating the Texans 6-11. I've got the Titans in second. And in my mind, it's not a good look. I've got them going 7-11. Just barely beating the Colts and the Texans. I've got the Jaguars running away with this division 10-7. I do think that the Jaguars are by far the best team in this division, and I want one of the other teams to prove me wrong. I really do, because I think when divisions are competitive is when football is fun to watch. I I don't think that personally, like teams that just blow everybody out, I don't think that's a fun game to watch unless, I mean, everybody's going to have a difference of opinion because obviously if your team is blowing everybody out, you're super excited. I like to watch competitive football. So yeah, I got Jags 1, Titans 2, Colts 3, Texans 4.
All right. So to answer your question, Chip, when a rookie quarterback came in and blew the NFL away last season, Brock Purdy. Yeah, he didn't play the full season, but definitely came out of nowhere and blew the NFL away as a third string just coming in. You can shake your head all you want, but you know he did. But no, a lot of the same things that you guys were saying. So I'm going to start with the Texans. CJ Stroud, man, whatever. I care more about what Ryan is going to do as a head coach. The defense is definitely going to get better, but it's not hard for them to get better from what they already were. They haven't been great, and that franchise really needs to figure out what they're going to do and how they're going to continue to pace forward. Yeah, they're building young team and they're trying to get their pieces here and there. But the morale there is going to be low. Hopefully it picks up and they can win some games. I, they're going to be last in my opinion. I think they might win 4 or 5 games only. Moving on to the Colts, they might be the more dynamic team to watch there, depending if Jonathan Taylor does play. I do think they should probably go not fully on the read option capability, but try and do some RPOs and see what Richardson can really do at this level. Yeah, he's very athletic, but how is that going to translate to the top tier of football? You can be great in college, you can show off in the combine and everything like that, but once you're on that field playing against other men, that shit's different. And just like everybody else, I do feel like it's time for Pittman to finally take that step and become that top 10 receiver we've been wanting him to be, really. Hopefully. I didn't draft him in fantasy, so I don't care. Moving on to, I think the Colts will probably win 5 games also. Like everybody else, there's a toss up between them and Texans on who will be the last team in the division. Moving on to, I'm going to go with the Titans. The Titans are always a weird team for me because I have little hope in them because they're such an older team, and I feel like they're always set to get hurt sometime, and it's always like an inopportune time. Tannehill can't fully lead a team to a win without Derrick Henry, in my opinion. And Derrick Henry is up there in age, and he's always getting beat up throughout the year. Maybe this is his last run in Tennessee, and I hope it's a good one. I don't want him to get hurt, but also don't think they're going to win the division. I think they're gonna. I think they're gonna be above 500. I think they may win 9 or 10 games overall. I just think it's time for them to start thinking ahead and start getting more future pieces. And Will Levis is definitely not the answer either. So I don't know what they're gonna do after Tannehill and Derrick Henry go away. And the last team is the Jaguars. Super impressive. But it's something we expect from a Doug Peterson team. I mean, he took Nick Foles' backup ass to the Super Bowl and won with them. So, I mean, he can do it. Trevor Lawrence is finally blossoming into that guy, like Braden and Chad said, that guy that's not elite, but in that division underneath, fighting for that like 5 to 10 range overall. Um, Maybe he breaks out. I still think out of the younger guys, I still think Justin Herbert's a little bit better than him. Maybe he proves me wrong this season. He does have great pieces overall. The team offensively is really good. Calvin really coming back. Hopefully, that year off didn't make him lose a step or anything like that. But Christian Kirk, like what everybody said, solid second piece, and he may help them actually go further into playoffs. I might see them make it to the second round this year, I think. But overall, Trevor Lawrence is really going to have to step up, flip that switch somewhere in his mind, become the absolute leader offensively, and will his team to win when it doesn't look like they can win certain games. I think they have one of the harder schedules this season too, if I remember correctly. So I still have them winning 11 games at a max, but it looks like a 10 game minimum. So 10-11 overall, winning overall from the Titans, as long as they can stay healthy. But no, I think overall this division isn't going to be as bad as its flip side on the NFC side. But who knows? I'm going to go ahead and let you guys get your last word in for the South here.
Before we get into this, let me ask a question. Who puts mayonnaise in their coffee?
A lot of people actually do.
Will Levis.
Really? I've never.
Yeah, a lot of people
Yeah,
do.
he does.
heard
He
that
does it.
before.
It's like creamer. Or
Yeah, it's
whatever.
creamer,
Yeah.
but not as fattening, even though it's all fucking egg based.
What'd you
Also,
do, creamer?
Roger, I need you to put some respect on Nick Foles' name. Use his real
Big
name.
Dick,
Big Dick Nick.
Big Dick Nick.
Big
My
Dick
fault.
Nick. I mean, he hadn't been Big Dick Nick since then, but you know.
I mean, where's he
He been
at?
half flaccid Foles for the past couple of years.
I don't.
I do want to point a couple of things out real quick, if that's all right with
Yes,
y'all.
yes, please.
Yeah, go ahead.
No.
So-
actually not.
On just about this division as a whole, I was just looking at it, and from what I can see, they only have 5 total primetime games this season as a division.
And the
And it's-
Texans have none.
And neither do the Colts.
Yeah,
It's from 2 teams. The Jaguars have 3, the Titans have 1, and I'm pretty sure maybe even one of those is together. So
I
Chances
mean,
are, yeah, that's probably going to be a Thursday nighter.
and
probably.
so that just shows you how weak this division is. It's one of the bottom 3 divisions in the entire NFL right now, for sure, in my eyes. And another big thing is, I'm bringing this up for a reason, and I'm sure we'll talk about it here in a minute. We all seen how Deshaun Watson played when he come back after a long hiatus. As of game 1 for Calvin Ridley, it will be, I believe, 321 days since he's played an NFL football game. His last one was on October 24th, 2021. So that's a long time to be out. I know he was still training and getting ready and just in case, and he's excited and his mental health is better, which is a good thing. That is a big thing and big reason why he stepped away. Even though he got suspended, he done that anyways. He's looking good, but being on an actual full speed NFL field is going to take a little bit of time. So I'm expecting him to be great again, even though he is older, but it may take a few weeks.
yeah, that's what I
Well,
said.
man,
Like, will he be up to pace really overall?
and
And
also
yeah,
it's a different position too. You know, I mean, wide receivers definitely. I mean, you're going to be in more contact because you're going to have the corners jamming you. You got to go over the middle. You got to worry about a free safety taking your head off and things of that nature. But it's different than a quarterback because a quarterback you're constantly got your head on a swivel. So
Yes, but the conditioning for a wide receiver is so much different than a quarterback.
Oh, of course, of course.
Well, also, Deshaun Watson was gone for like 2,764 days or something like that. He was gone for multiple years.
That's a long ass. That's a long ass massage.
Yeah, hey man, that's what they call it, a happy ending. You got that post nut clarity. Had to go on.
It was a happy ending for him. He got off scot free and got a fully guaranteed contract to come play like shit. So, but
didn't he? Well, he didn't get away scot free. He still had to pay settlements, so he still paid up somewhere.
Yeah, that's chump change to them. I mean,
well, after that contract, he's like, you know what? I did
230 million guaranteed.
Yeah, he's like, I did it here. Get this money.
Is that the only contract that's ever been fully guaranteed in the NFL?
Wasn't Mahomes? No, yeah.
No,
Mahomes just has a big ass contract.
He's restructurable though. He purposely.
Yeah, you're right. Watson was the only guaranteed.
Yeah, well, I think he signed the contract meaning for it to be that way. To be
is pretty much he did what Tom Brady did in his career, but he did it in one contract instead of multiple contracts.
Right.
He's restructuring it where he can give up money and put it in towards incentive instead of guaranteed seasonal money.
Right.
Yeah. So it won't go against the luxury cap, which is smart.
By the way, I want to clarify something. I said Jags, Texans, Titans, Colts. I meant Jags, Titans, Texans, Colts. I had it reversed on the thing. I was going up and down instead of left and right. So that's my mistake. I meant Jags, Titans, Texans, Colts.
Don't renege now. You got it.
I'm not reneging. I'm just being straight up honest with you.
After the shit I got for my Packers pick, I was like, "Here we go."
No, because you said that's interesting pick. I'm like, why is it interesting? It's pretty much what everybody's been saying. Oh shit! I accidentally said Texans instead of Titans. Shit!
Hey,
I ain't gonna live this shit down either.
I wasn't gonna say anything. I wasn't gonna let that shit ride. I was like, somebody's got more faith in my team than I do.
Well, if it's anybody
would be a hell of a
that's
story,
going to be
though,
confused, it's going to be a Dolphins fan.
Yeah.
All right, what division are we on to now?
Let's move on up to the north. And we'll start it off with Chip this time. Go ahead and talk about the north real quick, sir.
All right. I want to start off with the Steelers. So Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin avoided a losing season last year, despite TJ Watt missing 7 games, starting a rookie quarterback, and playing in arguably the toughest conference in the NFL. Kenny Pickett now has more experience. The O-line has improved, and Pittsburgh shored up its weaknesses on defense. Unfortunately for the Steelers, the AFC North is loaded. And that, in combination with the conference's strength, has pushed Pittsburgh's record down a little bit. Next up, I want to talk about the Cleveland Browns. The 2023 season will be determined by Deshaun Watson for the Cleveland Browns. If he returns to the version of the quarterback who led the NFL in passing yards and posted a 112.4 QB rating in 2020, the well-rounded Browns roster could go all the way to the Super Bowl. Anything short of that, and I think head coach Kevin Stefanski is on the hot seat, and Watson's fully guaranteed contract looks like an even bigger disaster than it already is. Next up, I want to talk about Braden's Baltimore Ravens. We're going to see a version of Lamar Jackson in the Ravens offense that no one has experienced before. Greg Roman is gone. Baltimore hiring Todd Monken, I think that's how you say his name, to run a more modern NFL offense with a high-end cast of offensive weapons around Jackson. Defensively, the Ravens should at least have a top 12 unit, even with some uncertainty regarding the 12. You heard what I said. I said what I said. Top 12. Even with some uncertainty regarding the pass rush, if Lamar Jackson avoids another injury plague season, this could be the best Ravens team in several years. Could be. Last up, I want to talk about the Cincinnati Bengals. Joe Burrow is right. The Bengals championship window is open as long as their starting quarterback is healthy. That's the key word. We said it about Tua. We said it about A-Rod. We said it about Trevor Lawrence. Can Joe Burrow stay healthy? Every season he's played, he's had some type of injury. But the long-term question is, can the Cincinnati core stay together? The offense in 2023 could be even better than it was last year. There are some concerns defensively because they lost Von Bell, they lost Jesse Bates, but they have a top 5 offense with Lou Anaruno, probably saying that wrong, but they need to challenge for the AFC title and go nose to nose with the Chiefs. I have this division, Steelers in last, still with a winning record, 9-8. Tomlin keeps his record of always having a winning season. They're not going to make the playoffs this year, I do not think. Browns in third. I have the Browns in third, winning 10 games. They're going to go 10-7 and be third in that division. I've got the Ravens and the Bengals. Ravens second, Bengals first, but I have them at a complete equal record, 11-7. But the Bengals have the tiebreaker. They're going to go on and win that division. So I yield the rest of my time. Chad, you go next.
All right. All right. So this division, just absolutely chock full of potential, upside, and talent through and through every single team. I want to start off talking about the Browns a little bit. This offseason has been all about the question, is Deshaun Watson still a competent quarterback? Is he? He got the money. He got some playing time last year. It didn't look good. Is that going to turn around for him? Because here's the thing. You're running into some of the toughest defenses in the league in this division. You don't have time to come in and get off to a slow start and turn it around later on. That just doesn't happen in this division. My favorite rumor of the NFL year has came from this team, and it's Nick Chubb getting more involved in the passing game. I want to see it. That dude is possibly the best pure, true running back in the NFL. Get him the ball more. Get him the ball. Just let him work. Kareem Hunt's gone. Let him do his thing. Let's see here. Speaking on Kareem Hunt being out, Jerome Ford is going to have to step up because Kareem Hunt, believe it or not, I believe was the person who touched the ball when it come to running backs. He had one of the highest, if not the highest, touches on third downs in the league last year, even with Nick Chubb out there on the team, which blows my mind. Jerome Ford is going to get some reps, and I think the dude looks good. I think he's going to come in and actually put in some work. Sneaky good wide receiver core with this group. You've got Amari Cooper. Nobody ever talks about Amari Cooper being elite, but he's been one of the more consistent wide receivers in the league since he came in. I'm not a fan of the dude, but he's not a bad dude. You don't get hyped up talking about Amari Cooper, but he's going to help this team a lot. Donovan Peoples-Jones, rookie Cedric Tillman coming out of UT. already making a splash, trying to get in on the field, trying to become that wide receiver 3. I actually think he is already slated as the wide receiver 3 for that team, right above Elijah Moore, which we haven't seen his full potential yet. With the Jets, with the quarterback carousel that they had, we don't know if Elijah Moore is going to have it or not. Is he still going through that quarterback thing, though? Like, does he need something more solidified than a questionable Deshaun Watson? We'll see. I want to talk about the Steelers a little bit. This team is going to be better this year. It's a super young team that now has had a true offseason to grow and to learn together. Okay? Kenny Pickett is building chemistry with his wide receiver core, with his running back room, his offensive line. He's learning to trust them more. George Pickens and Deontay Johnson, that's not a bad wide receiver room to lean on right there. A good 1-2 punch, if you ask me. Deontay Johnson's still going to be the wide receiver 1 there, but he's more of a possession receiver. George Pickens can stretch the field. He's going to stretch the field. He's going to make plays. Reminds me a lot of watching OBJ whenever he was younger with the Giants. This defense is going to keep them in games. Led by TJ Watt, it's going to keep them in games. And then you got my favorite coach in the league, Mike Tomlin. I love talking about this dude. He is just a good guy all around. He's fun to watch. He's a great coach. Does the streak continue? I know Chip alluded to it a minute ago. He's been above 500 every single year, with all kinds of things, obstacles thrown his way. I think he does. I don't see him dropping below 500 this year with a team that was bad last year and still made it, but they're together again. They're going to be better. Let's talk about the Ravens for a second. Lamar gets the huge money contract. He gets what he wanted. He wanted to be in Baltimore. He wanted to stay in Baltimore. He got the deal that he wanted. It wasn't quite what he wanted because Deshaun Watson almost completely screwed up the entire quarterback contract controversy throughout the entire NFL. But once Jalen Hurts got his contract and it started to snowball down a little bit, then Lamar was like, okay, nobody else is getting it. I'm fine not getting it. That's cool. He seems to be super excited about this team this season and the pieces that they've added in. He's always wanted help. He's always said he needed help, and now he's getting some help, hopefully. OBJ is in town. I'm not expecting much from an aging, possible injury-prone wide receiver. When Odell's good, football is fun. And I want to see it again, but with Todd Monken, they are going to throw the ball more, but will it be enough to make a difference? J.K. Dobbins is going to be back hopefully soon. And we'll see what they do. Didn't they sign Melvin Gordon as well to this roster? I don't foresee much coming from him, but you got the Gus Bus back there. You got J.K. Dobbins. You got pieces in place to run the ball. Lamar's the running back 1 anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But can this team really take the division from the Bengals? That's the big question. Do they have enough pieces? This defense is still inside the top 10. It's still there. So I think Chip's shaking his head no. I know you said around the 12 spot. I was looking at it earlier. Most rankings right now have them sitting around the 7-8 spot in total defense on the year. But let's jump over to the Bengals for a minute. Joe Burrow's down with a calf injury at the moment. They're saying he's looking like he's going to be good to go for week 1. Still unsure, up in the air. We'll see what happens there. He was, however, throwing on the sidelines before the preseason opener, so that's a great sign right there of him even being out there on the sideline and especially tossing the ball around. Burrow seems to be a little bit ahead of schedule when it comes to his return right now, so we'll see what happens with that. The biggest break that this team got this year was Joe Mixon's off-the-field stuff. Doesn't seem like it's going to carry over into this season. It looks like it's going to be an Alvin Kamara type situation where it's going to hit next year. I know that one of his 2 cases that were open earlier this all season, one of those were closed. Now it's back open again. So he's got a court hearing. I think it was late last week or late this week one. So we're going to see what's going on with that. Joe Mixon's still a beast. That dude's just a solid running back in the game. He's been good. He's going to stay good. Can they take over this team, the Bengals? Can they stay healthy enough to take over the AFC as a whole? To do that, you have to dethrone the Chiefs. They've done it. Can they do it again? Can they make it a habit? That's my biggest question for this team. Final standings for the league, for this division. I've got the Browns at the bottom. I don't see Deshaun Watson coming in and getting off to a hot start. I don't see it happening. And like I said earlier, without a hot start in this division, you don't make things happen. Okay. Steelers coming in at 3rd. I think this team's going to be a little better than what people are giving them for. Then the toss-up. It's the toss-up at the top. It's really, really tough to call. I do see the Bengals being the better team, not by much, but maybe 2 games. So I've got Bengals at the top, Ravens, Steelers, and Browns.
Talon.
Yeah, it's like Talon. I was gonna say something, but I'm wait for my turn to say something.
Okay. This honestly, this is one of those divisions. This is probably the only division where every single team has a case to win the division. I'm going to start with the Browns first. The big question mark is going to be Deshaun Watson. That's the biggest question mark, and it's been the biggest question mark ever since he was traded to the Browns. But when you look at the Browns, yes, you have Deshaun. Nick Chubb is one of the best running back, one of the best pure running backs in the game. And like what Chad said a minute ago, Jerome Ford's also going to be complimentary. You got Amari Cooper. You got Marquise Goodwin, who is also still very good. Donovan Peoples-Jones, Elijah Moore, Cedric Tillman out of Tennessee. But let's not forget about the defense. Myles Garrett is still an elite defensive player. He is still on that level. You know, Denzel Ward is still up there in the top 10 of corners right now. I think he should be up there at least. And there's a whole lot of moving pieces, but at the same time, kind of like with other teams that we've talked about, the Browns are too inconsistent to stay in the to stay relevant in the division. When it comes to the Pittsburgh Steelers, however, the Pittsburgh Steelers and Mike Tomlin, I think Mike Tomlin will go down as probably one of the best coaches to ever coach in the game of football. And the reason I say that is because I don't know if it's because he's just that good or he's got a lucky rabbit's foot up his ass. I don't know. But this guy figures out a way. Like you literally give this man chicken shit and he makes chicken salad. He is that good at what he does. Kenny Pickett's going to be, you know, as far as I know, he's still going to be the starter. Because God forbid you put Mitchell Trubisky in there. You know, still has Najee Harris as the running back. You know, there's still a lot of, you know, the wide receiver core with, you know, Deontay Johnson, George Pickens. That's still going to be a thing. Also on the defense, we talked about, you know, TJ Watt. Let's not forget about the secondary as well, man, with Mika Fitzpatrick, who is probably one of, if not the best free safety in the game right now. So he's going to have a lot to do with it as well. The tight end, Pat Frymarth, I can't pronounce his name. I hope I'm saying that right, but he's creeping up there in the top 10 best tight ends in the game also. So that's going to be a dynamic. Cameron Haywood is still a very, very good defensive lineman. I think that he'll cause some ruckus along with TJ Watt, who is listed as an outside linebacker, but he's an edge rusher, so he can line up with you or he can step back. You know, I think defensively, I think they're going to be okay. Then you move on to the Cincinnati Bengals. Joe Burrow, you talked about Joe Burrow, you know, having the calf injury. However, I think it's going to be he'll be okay for week one because God forbid you throw Trevor Siemian in there. The whole thing with Joe Mixon and his off the field stuff. So then you wonder who's going to be the running back. Is it going to be Chase Brown? Is it going to be Chris Evans? Is it going to be Travion Williams? Who's it going to be? We don't know. We'll have to figure that out week one. But you still Jamar Chase, T Higgins, still the two probably the 1A, 1B best duo receiving core with Cincinnati. Probably the other one you could probably say maybe Hill and Waddle in Miami. Of course, that's my own personal thought, so shut up about it. But also the Bengals, they still have good players on the defense. They still have Trey Hendrickson. They still have Sam Hubbard. They still have Logan Wilson. They do have a good, solid defense around them. Now, yes, they lost Jesse Bates. They lost Von Bell and a couple of other pieces, but the team is still good. And then you go to the Baltimore Ravens, my son's favorite team. Lamar Jackson got his money. Lamar Jackson, hopefully he will play to that MVP caliber level that he used to play at. Now, the running back situation meant J.K. Dobbins, Gus Edwards, Melvin Gordon. There's a plethora of running backs at their disposal and wide receivers too. Odell Beckham Jr., Rashad Bateman, Devin Duvernay, Zay Flowers is there. Even No Hands Aguilar is there. So, of course, I don't recommend him anyway. But, Mark Andrews at the tight end position, a top 5 tight end in the game right now. Now the defense, they do have some people on injury reserve. Tyrus Bowser is on injury reserve, but that doesn't mean that they don't have good players on that defense either. Patrick Queen is still there. Probably another top corner in the game. Marlon Humphreys is there. Geno Stone. Like, there's a lot of good players on this defense. For me, and again, this division's stacked. It's probably the most stacked division team per team in the league for me. I'm going to go with, God, I hate to do this, but I'm going to go with the Cleveland Browns in 4th. I'm going to go Pittsburgh at 3. Sorry, Braden. I got the Ravens 2 and I got the Bengals 1. That's the way I got it. So there you go.
Go ahead, Braden. Give us your take. Then we'll get back to it when Roger gets back.
Yeah. You got to unmute, Bubba.
You got to unmute yourself, Bubba.
The chat ain't the only one. Hey, I'll mute.
You're still not unmuted.
We good?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
There we go. My bad.
Okay, go.
All right. So, fellas, welcome to the best division in football. We'll go with the Browns first. So, I don't think Deshaun is the same as 2019 Deshaun at all. So, I read a stat today that he is, from snap to throw, he is taking 3.8 seconds to get something off. That is taking forever. That is dead last in the league. You're not going to survive like that. I mean, my God. Next closest was like 3.1 seconds, and that's a rookie quarterback. Can't remember who the guy was, but dude's just taking forever. I don't think he's going to get back to form, and I will cut him a little slack. I mean, last year, you have all the mental stuff going on. You have all the stuff with court. You have a lot of stuff going out in the media, so that's definitely going to affect your play as a quarterback. The Browns, somehow every season, they're the quote unquote off-season champs. They crown themselves. Oh man, we made all these moves, yada yada. We're coming for you. We're coming for you. Never amounts to anything. It's Cleveland. No one cares. But unfortunately, I mean, I do think that when it comes to the AFC North, I mean, they are going to steal a couple of games where they are a pesky team when it comes down to it at the end of the day. A fun stat is with AFC North last year, every team in division games 1-1, 1-1, 1-1. That's how close this division is. I mean, you've got to come to the table every time it's a division game. You have to come to play. When it comes to the Steelers, I think the offensive line is definitely still a question. They addressed it in the first round this year, but I mean, that's still a project player. Their biggest thing is it's the downfall of playing in the AFC North. Unfortunately for them, they have the worst quarterback in the division. Kenny, hopefully he does make a leap this year. He's not the best when it comes to the red zone scoring. I mean, this team was on offense. I mean, averaging 17 points a game last year. Not the best. I do love George Pickens going into this year. They do have a good offensive core around Kenny. That's what's good. I do love you've got the core of Farmuth, the Muth, his Luth. That's gonna be dope. I like Farmuth. He's gonna be a good emergence at tight end this year. I like to see good tight ends pop on the scene. Najee, hopefully he gets back on track this year. I don't know. I think it's a downfall of the offensive line, honestly. I mean, Duke can get going, but it's all going to be dependent on the O-line. The Bengals. I don't know. I mean, like, I don't think it's biased, but holy shit, people do not realize what this secondary is losing. You are losing Von Bell, Jesse Bates, Eli Apple. I mean, I know everyone shits on Eli Apple, but dude's still good. I mean, he's a good vet. But holy shit, who do you have back there? I mean, Mahomes in the playoffs, I mean, that was one of the biggest things stopping him from dicing them up even more was Von Bell and Jesse Bates back there. Not to mention you're losing Hayden Hurst on offense and Samaje Perine. I think Samaje does not get enough credit whatsoever. Personally, I think he's better than Joe Mixon. Dude went out there and balled whenever Joe Mixon was gone. And half of Joe Mixon's production came in one game when he had 250 yards against the Panthers. I mean, I don't think he's that good. I think Samaje's better. I think they could have kept Samaje and let Joe walk for less money, but that's just me. I think, too, we'll see just how much Hayden Hurst meant to that offense. I mean, whenever it was 3rd and short and you had to convert, Hayden Hurst was there a lot of the time, and I can't even tell you the tight end that's there now. I mean, I don't know. But like you guys mentioned, going forward, their big thing is going to be keeping the big three together, that being T. Higgins, Jamar, and Joe. It's going to be tough to pay all three of them, but still, Cincinnati is going to be Cincinnati. They are proven. That's the biggest thing with this division. They are the proven commodity that's done it the past 3 or 4 years. You know, they have been competing with Mahomes in the playoffs the past 3 or 4 years. So that's what I think gives them the advantage over the Ravens. But fellas, when it comes to the Ravens, we finally got Greg Roman to put the Denny's menu down on the sideline. He's not calling plays anymore. No one cares about him. Get out of here. We're not running halfback dive every play. Sorry, Patrick Ricard's gonna get out of the slot. Sorry, we're not putting fullbacks in the slot anymore. Not cool. Hopefully, what I want to see the most out of this offense is balance. So that's going to be the biggest thing going forward. We said before, we don't know if it's going to be enough passing the ball. Well, when it comes to the Ravens, their biggest identity is run the ball down your throat. So if you match that with passing the ball, with all these offensive weapons, holy cow, sky's the limit. Because Greg Roman would be the best offense coordinator of all time if he could just learn how to pass the ball. I mean, he's one of the great running minds in offensive coaching. Dude had great schemes. But Lamar is finally getting freaking weapons. People have begged for it forever. We are upgrading from Sammy Watkins and Demarcus Robinson to Odell and Zay Flowers. It does not get any better than that. I mean, I think this is very similar to, let's compare it to Cam Newton. Cam Newton never got his weapons. Imagine if Cam Newton finally got weapons. I mean, Lamar's finally getting it. And personally, this is just a little bit of bias, but I think that the defense is top 5. I do. Roquan Smith is finally getting the green dot on defense. You're bringing back Patrick Queen. We've got edge rushers. I don't care if Tyus Bowser's hurt. We got David Ajabo coming back. You got Odafe Oweh over there, athletic freak. D-line solid. Michael Pierce, all the boys coming back. And even on the back end, I love Marlon Humphrey, top 5 corner. And then a lot of people sleep on the best safety duo in the league. Yeah, I said it. Marcus Williams, Kyle Hamilton, best safety duo in the league. Just saying. But we'll start with going to go with the Browns at 4, Steelers 3, Bengals 2, Ravens 1.
I was gonna say something that Chad brought up, and I completely forgot it was. So you're safe for now, Chad. But um, I think besides the NFC East, this might be the most competitive division overall. Um, between well, at least between the top two, at least. Um, I do believe that the Browns are going to be the Browns. I hope they get worse. I hope they suffer the Baker Mayfield curse and just get worse and worse every year for doing what they did to him. Um, they shouldn't have gotten rid of him for Deshaun Watson, and now they pay for it. But no, I don't. Regardless, I still think, like we said, Deshaun Watson was gone for too long, and with the stat that Braden just brought up, with how he's throwing at almost 4 seconds to get rid of the ball from snap to completion, that's ridiculous. He's going to get killed, especially in that division, with all that defense going on there. Um, I I don't see them really winning more than probably 6 games, unless they just have a really soft schedule. So hopefully they can draft somebody to replace Deshaun Watson once that contract goes away. They'll have somebody ready to go, unless they're just going to pay him to be on the bench. Um, Going on to the Steelers, I like Mike Tomlin. I think he's one of the best coaches ever. Started really young, coaching wise, made impacts immediately, and really brought the old culture and made it better there. And I think what he's going to do is he's going to push Pickett more this season. I think he's going to get even more out of him. I think they go. I think they go 9-8. I don't see them really doing amazing. I think they're going to squeak out a lot of games. The defense is hopefully going to be able to support them more than what they were able to. Young team, they just need to get more pieces. That offensive line is always going to be an issue. They need to fix that situation. That I don't really know. I don't really know much about what else they can do besides just get the offensive line bolstered up. Najee Harris, he did go back a little bit, but I think, like Brady said, it was that defensive or the offensive line that made it more regression. Pickett didn't really have much time to settle in and throw because that line wasn't really supporting him either. Let's see what they can do this season. Going to go with the Bengals next, and Burrows is hurt during the preseason. That doesn't matter. I don't think it's going to affect going open see on game one the season. That trio of T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, and Burrows is very dynamic. I love watching them play. Even though I don't really root for them much, I still think they're very dynamic to watch and fun to watch. I think that they're not going to be as good as they have been. I think this year they do go a little bit back overall as a team. I think they might win. Let's go with 12 games, in my opinion. I think they're going to lose it out to the Ravens this year because Lamar Jackson is going to try to prove himself much more this season. Prove it this year. Try to show his worth with the contract, that he deserved more and everything like that. But I don't care about Odell Beckham. I don't think he's great. He made one catch 45 years ago, and he's been injured ever since. So what the hell does he matter? His best highlights are when he's on the boat with his friends. But Zay Flowers, to me, I think is going to be really the big surprise. I think I drafted him so far in every draft I've had because I see such great potential out of him. I think going into the draft, most teams rated him lower. as a lower receiver than he should have been. I'm surprised he fell down that low, to be honest. But I really hope he positions himself to be the one after Odell's gone this season. I feel like Odell will probably get hurt game 4, so it won't really matter. And then J.K. Dobbins comes back. I'm excited. Really love that guy. But I think the Ravens are going to go. I think they're going to win 13 games. I think they're only going to lose maybe 2 in the division overall, though. But no, that's all I see is Ravens, Bengals, Steelers, and then Browns. Open the floor to you guys to have your last second to talk. Yes.
Put some respect on Nelson Aguilar's name. That's all.
That dude is trash. And
No
I hate
hands,
him,
Aguilar.
Who? No
I
hands,
hate him.
Aguilar?
and I cannot believe
No
we
hands,
drafted
Aguilar.
him in front of Justin Jefferson as an Eagles fan, and I'm pissed.
You just got no ball, man. He can play.
I mean, he
He's
got
a
like a 75% drop
douche canoe.
percentage.
I think Carson Wentz would agree with you. Would disagree with you.
By the way, I know you were talking about the tight end position in Cincinnati earlier, Braden. It is Irv Smith Jr. now that came over, I believe, from the Vikings or wherever the hell he was last year.
Vikings.
Very competent tight end, can get the job done. He's going to be just as good, if not better, than Hayden Hurst, I believe, in this offense.
I think he's a better blocker than he is a receiver or a hands
Pass
player.
catcher.
A pass catcher, yeah. Which they do need more help on the line or in that front anyway. So
My only thing about the Ravens offense is I don't see them running much 11 personnel, so I don't think 3 wide receivers are going to be out there a whole lot. And I think you're going to see a lot of Rashad Bateman and Odell being the 1s and 2s out there. And I really want to see Zay Flowers out there more, but I don't think he's going to win that position over either of those because of the amount of money that they paid Odell and the respect that they have for Rashad Bateman, giving him a chance to actually prove himself, even though he's still kind of injured right now. So that's the only thing that I want them to change is to run a little bit more 11 personnel and get 3 wide receivers out there. But you don't really have to when you have Mark Andrews. So,
But I mean, Mark Andrews is your number 1 receiver on that team. Just pretty much Travis Kelce situation. But I think Zay Flowers will play because, like I said, Odell probably won't go past game 4 before he blows his vagina out.
I say 3. I give him 3 games.
But Braden, you said think about Cam Newton. We had weapons. I meant to bring this up. Cam Newton did have weapons. D'Angelo Williams, Jonathan Stewart, and Steve Smith Jr. And then he got Scrimmage Samuel near the end. But I mean,
Oh no, I'm saying like all of these weapons at once.
yeah.
he had 3 of them. He had 3 of them. He had 3 of them at once.
Didn't
My
he play
fault.
with Kelvin Benjamin too at one point?
Kelvin Benjamin and Greg
Kelvin
Olsen.
Benjamin.
He had weapons.
He had Greg Olsen, yeah. Well,
But
remember
no,
when
the 2 of those
made
were
that
running
run?
backs. We're talking
then-
about, I think
then
Braden's
Greg
speaking on the
Olsen,
wide receiver core right now.
Greg
No.
Olsen,
John,
and Steve Smith.
Jonathan Stewart. Hold on. Jonathan Stewart was the pure running back. D'Angelo Williams had the ability to
was a
run, but
catching
also
back.
take swing passes.
Yeah, he was
as
changing
well.
pace.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
was very underrated, dude. I think he was probably one of the most underrated weapons that Cam Newton ever had. And the thing about it is, like, they had the ability to win the Super Bowl, but they ran into Von Killer in the damn Super Bowl. So
Marcus Ware and Von Miller. That's
and
all
Marcus
we need.
Ware-
That's
and
all
it keep
we need.
no, he had to keep
And
to
Keith to
leave.
leave.
Yeah,
Yeah, but Keith Lee was out there throwing hands with Michael Crabtree. So,
yeah. Well, Crabtree can't throw hands. We saw him try that once already.
well, that's what happens. You put a trash receiver like that against a man like Richard Sherman. But no,
Richard Sherman.
the greatest analyst ever, right?
Well, he's taking Shannon Sharp's place on Undisputed against Skip Bayless. So
No, he's not. Stop.
yeah. No, for real. That was what was reported. Yeah.
So Skip Bayless is going to have Richard Sherman and Lil Wayne.
Yeah.
All right, that shuttle blast about. That's the final year for the show. All right, thank you, Skip Bayless, for ending your own career stupidly.
Chip, you got any final thoughts on this division?
FS1, if you have if you need some people, we got you. But let's go ahead and move on to the final part of this division, the champion division. and that is the West. I speak last anyway, so it doesn't matter. But I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna actually let Braden talk first on the division.
All right. So let's start with let's go with the Broncos first. So you kick out Nathaniel Hackett, bring in Sean Payton. Personally, I don't think Nathaniel Hackett was the problem. I think it starts with Russ. Russ is the problem. So I think we've seen the last of Russ's prime. It's just going downhill from there. We have not seen Seattle Russ in a long, long time. You have weapons around. You have Jerry Jeudy, you have Cortland Sutton, you have Javonte Williams in the backfield, but dude can get shit done. I mean, you would see every time you hop on Instagram, you'd see everybody just giving him a dirty look on the sideline. I mean, bro's just not Russ is not Russ anymore. Defense does not have any pieces whatsoever. And I think we're gonna see that Sean Payton just from a coaching change cannot help this Broncos team whatsoever. I mean, you're still in a tough conference in the AFC, and let alone the AFC West, where everyone's pretty solid. Next, we'll start with the Raiders. I don't understand this franchise whatsoever. I mean, there's high key a dark cloud over this whole organization. Poor Al Davis. I mean, Josh Jacobs is a huge part of your offense, and you don't want to pay the man. I mean, 9 times out of 10, you're lining up in I formation, just hammering the ball up the middle and just go, go, go. And you're not even willing to pay him. I don't know. And you want to bring in Jimmy G whenever Derek Carr was doing a serviceable job and then didn't deserve to have the job taken away from whatsoever. I mean, I could see Adams and Jacobs requesting a trade by the deadline, just wanting out ASAP. I feel bad for them and Max Crosby, 110%. Love all three of them, but don't see the Raiders doing much this year. Let's see. I'll go with the Chiefs next. I think this year specifically proved that Mahomes can make it work with anyone on the offense when it comes to them. He's the type of quarterback that's going to uplift any wide receiver core that you put around him. Now, we're going to see if Sky Moore and the rest of the gang can get it done. Maybe MVS is still there. I can't remember. I mean, it's just a hodgepodge group of wide receivers in Kansas City, and somehow Mahomes goes out and makes them look like all pros every weekend. I mean, it's pretty crazy. Let's see if Travis Kelce is at the end. I don't know. The dude just keeps on pumping out seasons. Tight end one. Let's see. Let's go with the Chargers next. I'm so excited for Justin Herbert to get back to a healthy body. Kellen Moore comes in. This wide receiver trio of just trees of Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, and Quentin Johnson. That is awesome. That's like putting a basketball team out there. Go up. I'm gonna chuck it. Let's see what they got. Kellen Moore's just gonna sling the rock. It's gonna be cool. Austin Eckler's gonna have a great season too. I mean, that offense is poised for big things. And the Chargers are another one of those teams that every year we see the potential for them. It's just, do they capitalize on it? I mean, low key last season, they are the quote unquote off-season champs. They bring in J.C. Jackson, Khalil Mack. And it's looking like a really stout defense. I mean, you got freaking Bosa on one side, you got Mack on the other. Best of luck offense, but Mack struggled with injuries a little bit here and there. And somehow with Herbert injured and Keenan Allen injured, I want to say this team went right around like 10-7, right around there, I think. Still, that's very, very impressive for what they dealt with. Not to mention Mack was injured on the defense too. So for that division specifically, I mean, it's not very hard to rank this one. At 4, we'll go with the Raiders. 3, we'll go with the Broncos. 2, Chargers. Chiefs. 1. I think the Chargers are a definite upset team in the playoffs. If they get to the wild card round, watch out. They could upset somebody.
All right. Wanna go ahead and Talon, you can go second.
Okay, so basically this division is who's going to get second place, because I think we already know who's going to be the winner of this division. It's going to be the Kansas City Chiefs. But before we get to the Kansas City Chiefs, let's start off with them damn Raiders. Well, yes, yeah, you got rid of Derek Carr and you brought in Jimmy G. That's like it's the lateral move at best. And yeah, you got Josh Jacobs, but you're going to run him into the ground, and he ain't going to be worth a damn by the end of the year, because you're not going to know how to use him correctly. And what other running back do you have? Damian Williams, who's good running back, but I mean, he's not Josh Jacobs. Devontae Adams, one of the best wide receivers in the game, and you are wasting him at this point. Yeah, you have Jacoby Myers. Yeah, you still have Hunter Renfrow. You still have good players. And then you look over at the defense of the Raiders. You have Max Crosby, and you have Chandler Jones on that side. You know, the guy that basically sent Mac Jones to hell last year. And you got a couple of other pieces, but again, it is one of the most dysfunctional franchises in the league right now. I feel like a complete jackass for picking them last year, and I know you guys aren't going to let me live that down, but it is what it is. Fuck it. Moving on from there to the Denver Broncos, you got rid of Nathaniel Hackett. You bring in Sean Payton. Russell Wilson is on the downtick of his career, but I still think he's serviceable, because other than Russell Wilson, your only other quarterback options is Jared Stidham and Ben DiNucci. Exactly. But they do have, serviceable running back. They got Javonte Williams that's still there. They still have Jerry Jeudy. They still have Cortland Sutton. So they do have some weapons. The defense, I mean, the defense has not lived up to par at all. I mean, you got Randy Gregory. You got Kareem Jackson. But who else do you have besides Justin Simmons? You have one of the best free safeties in Justin Simmons to make sure no one goes over the top. But at the end of the day, the Broncos are not a good team, which is kind of sad, because I mean the Broncos are one of those. They're not a cornerstone franchise, but they are. When you think of the Denver Broncos, you think the Von Miller teams, and you think of the John Elway teams, and all the Terrell Davis and teams like that. But it's like those days are kind of in the past now. You know what I mean? But moving on to the Chargers. The Chargers, provided Justin Herbert can stay healthy, they're going to go a long way. Austin Eckler, and to me, he's the best 1-2 combination as far as running and catching. I mean, the dude's out of his mind, incredible. And of course, at the wide receiver position, you still have Keenan Allen. Josh Palmer's kind of stepped into his own. Mike Williams is going to be back. So I do think that there's potential for that team to continue to excel. Over on the defense, yeah, you got Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack. You also in the secondary, Derwin James and also Asante Samuel Jr., which is still mind blowing to me that the junior is in the league now. I just feel old. But then again, they're one of those teams. The fuck is a moth doing in here? They're one of those teams that I think will end up getting second place and possibly the wild card spot. Because let's be honest, who can honestly beat the Kansas City Chiefs at this point? Patrick Mahomes. They have the best quarterback in Patrick Mahomes. They got the best tight end in Travis Kelce. They got the best coach in Andy Reid. Their wide receiver core. I mean, you got Sky Moore, Marquez Valdes-Scantling, Kadarius Toney, Richie James. So you do have. It's like the land of misfit toys in a sense when it comes to the wide receivers, and then of course at running backs, Isaiah Pacheco, Jerick McKinnon, they're still there. The only thing I'll say, they still have Chris Jones. The only thing I will say though is losing Frank Clark to the Denver Broncos, is that going to hinder them as far as the defense goes? That would be a question. Like, is that front four going to be as dominant as it was without Frank Clark being there? So that's the question. And again, Nick Bolton at the at linebacker, and they got some good secondary options. Justin Reed is still there. Uh, the other Lamar Jackson, not the running back, not the running back, but the cornerback is also there. So they got weapons on offense and defense. And again, like I said before, it's a battle for second place. So the way I have it, I have Kansas City winning the division, obviously, followed by the Chargers. And I went back and forth with this one, but I'm going to say the Broncos only because the addition to Sean Payton, I think, will elevate this team because Sean Payton expects excellence from his teams. So I got it Chiefs, Chargers, Broncos, and Raiders.
All right. Chad, I'll let you go ahead and go third.
There we go. All right. So I'm going to start off with the Raiders in this division. This team got rid of Derek Carr and Darren Waller, and they still won't pay Josh Jacobs. Where's your money going to? It's driving me crazy. Sign the man. I did read something just a little while ago, honestly, that says they're expecting to sign him sooner or later. So I think the team is actually giving way a little bit instead of the running back having to give way a little bit. So I'm expecting him to get something like the Saquon deal. I think that's what he's got on the table right now is the 10.1-ish area. So we'll see what happens with that. I mean, will he be back for week 1? I hope so. I want to watch Josh Jacobs play football. Like, the dude's good. I want to see it happen. I want to see him on the field. But in the meantime, I just want to bring up Zamir White is making the most. He is taking advantage of the situation in the backfield right now. I believe he's poised to be the RB1 if Josh Jacobs doesn't come back for a week or two, if at all. We'll see how that goes. Zamir White is obviously not Josh Jacobs, but I think he is I think he's going to prove to be a very durable and reliable option just in case. Jimmy G's finally getting his chance as a QB1 full-time. It almost didn't happen. If he didn't pass his physical, they were going to let him go. And they were just going to fight for that number 1 draft pick next year. They were fully ready to tank. But they pushed all the chips in on Jimmy G. Let's hope he's got what it takes for the sake of football. I want to see the Raiders do something. Talon, I'm rooting for your pick from last year. I want to see the Raiders do something. I know they're your darlings. It's okay. They'll be back. Al Davis isn't around. We know, but hey. But no, I mean, I think they've got a lot of stuff going on. Darren Waller's going to New York. Austin Hooper and rookie Michael Mayer come to town for the tight end position. We'll see what they provide. We'll see who wins that battle. I'm thinking it's going to be more split time. I think Michael Mayer is going to get used in the pass catching game. Austin Hooper can do some of that. Probably more red zone, more pass blocking, that type of situation for him. Jacoby Myers coming to town, I believe, is a pivotal piece for this team. They lost Mac Hollins, which I don't know if y'all have seen his videos. I believe he's in Atlanta now. That dude, what the did he turn into Kirby? Like swallowed DK Metcalf. Like the dude is fucking huge now. It's absolutely insane. So I believe Jacoby Myers is actually going to be a good piece for this team, along with obviously Devontae Adams, Hunter Renfrow. My biggest thing about this team is Josh McDaniel already on the hot seat heading into a second year? Is he? Because I believe he is. It's a tough division, and this team wants to turn things around in a hurry. They want to win. This team has prided themselves decade after decade, wanting to be not only one of the top teams in the league, but wanting to be a front runner, a face of the league. They've always been that way, and they're just an afterthought at the moment. So we see what happens with that. I don't even know if Josh McDaniels makes it through the entire season, to be honest with you. Next up, let's talk about the Broncos. Whole lot of shit. My head hurts from thinking about the Broncos, talking about the Broncos, watch a video about the Broncos. Sean Payton comes in, takes the reins as the new head coach. I love Sean Payton as a coach. I know he did some twisted shit over in New Orleans. Fine, whatever. He's come in, he said some shit about Nathaniel Hackett. Coaches shouldn't do that. But I just don't think those two like each other, and that's fine. I don't give a damn. It makes for good publicity to me, I think. The biggest problem with this team, like Braden said, is Russell Wilson like done? Because he looks done. And I don't want him to be done because he's been a top 10 QB in the league ever since he stepped foot on the field. When Russell Wilson's going, he's going. He is now almost 2 years removed from that injury that held him back. So we'll see what happens with that. He's going to have to step up. He's going to have to build chemistry with this team. The wide receiver room's already taken knocks. I mean, Tim Patrick going down. I know he's not a household name that everybody knows, but damn it, he's good, and he's fun to watch play football, and he's down again, gone for the season. I think this might be the end of the rope for Tim Patrick. I don't know if he comes back from this one or not. Sadly, old Fireball Jones is in my heart over there, and I love the guy. Jerry Jeudy really needs to step up and be the wide receiver one for this team. He's got to take charge. He's got to come in. He was drafted to be the number one, and he needs to take over that role and take it seriously. Although Cortland Sutton's looking pretty damn good in camp right now. The dude's actually coming to play. He's lost weight. He's in better shape. He's looking good. I don't know what he can do at his age. I think he's 28-ish. Somewhere around that age. So we'll see. The biggest headline for me this offseason has been watching Javonte Williams. This dude tore his ACL and his LCL in week 4 of last year. This kid is way ahead of schedule. He's expected to play in the next preseason game. He shouldn't be on the field, but he is. And that is insane to me. So I want to see him. He's really good. He's very talented. I think he can be one of the better backs in the entire league, just pure running back. We'll see. Jumping over to the Chargers, was Herbert's last year just a slump? Was it a fluke? What was it? There was a lot of injury going on. He got hurt. The team was hurt. Keenan Allen was in. Keenan Allen was out. Mike Williams is in. Mike Williams is out. Although that's to be expected of Mike Williams. I mean, the dude jumps up 15 foot in the air to catch a ball and just flat backs the son of a bitch. So that's on him. Keenan Allen is ready to go from what I understand. He's looking good. He's healthy. He's ready to play. He is getting a little older. That dude is just a pure, he is a target monster. That dude just feeds off of targets. He might push 190 targets this year if he stays healthy, with Justin Herbert staying healthy too. Does Quentin Johnston take over as the wide receiver 3? I know that's where he's labeled at on the depth chart right now. I don't take depth charts a whole lot to heart at this moment in the year, but he's looking good. But you also got Josh Palmer there. This wide receiver core is going to be good. Especially with Kellen Moore, he's absolutely going to make a difference in this team. Biggest thing for them is, what are they going to do with Austin Eckler? He's going to play through his contract controversy. This is the last year of his 4-year deal that he signed, in 2020, somewhere around in there. The dude's good. He's getting older. He wants to be the face of a franchise somewhere. I don't know if he's going to get it the way the market is for running backs at this moment in the NFL. And then we're on to the Super Bowl champion, Kansas City Chiefs. New wide receiver group again this year. Does it matter? I don't know. I doubt it. It sure as hell didn't matter last year. Okay? They came in, they got the job done. Reminds me a lot of the Giants wide receiver room this year, though. Who is the number one? I know Kadarius Toney was supposed to be, but I think he's already hurt again. Then you got MVS. Then you got Sky Moore. You got Rasheed Rice coming in. They're all going to be involved. Patrick Mahomes likes to shotgun approach his receivers. He's got one main target in Travis Kelce. Everybody else gets a little here, gets a little there, a little here, a little there. So we'll see what happens with that. And, does Eric Bieniemy, does his departure make a difference on this team? I think it does. I think they actually take a bigger hit than what people expect them to. Just from him leaving this team, that dude is a game changer when it comes to the coaching room. So we'll see how that works out. But I believe Pat Mahomes continues to build his legacy. They're looking like they're poised for another Super Bowl run. And we'll go ahead and throw out the standings here. I'm going to go Raiders at the bottom. I don't believe in Jimmy G. I'm not a Jimmy G guy. Never have been. Broncos coming in at third, which I want them to be better. I want them to be good. I just don't think Russ has much left in the tank. Chargers, I believe, are actually going to give Kansas City a run for their money this year in this division, but I think they are going to finish second with the Chiefs taking the top.
All right. I'm gonna go ahead and pass it off to Chip.
All right. I'm going to start with the Raiders. So the Raiders replaced Derek Carr with an injury-prone Jimmy G, and they essentially did nothing to address the worst defense in football last season. Garoppolo will execute the offense just how Josh McDaniels wants, but that puts a very low ceiling on this team, in my opinion. I think best case scenario for the Raiders is 7 wins. However, Jimmy G's history of injuries suggests that they don't even get that. I'm going to move on to the Broncos. So the Broncos made it through arguably one of the worst coaching stints in NFL history, even if Russell Wilson is a fraction of the quarterback he used to be. Sean Payton has generated a top 5 offense with Drew Brees' arm strength evaporated. When Drew Brees was faltering, Sean Payton was able to produce a top 5 offense. Wilson is arguably better than Brees was at the end of his career, not overall, just the end of his career. The Denver Broncos have enough blue chip talent on both sides of the ball to be a lot more competitive in 2023 than they were in 2022. I'm going to move on to the Chargers. So injuries and offensive coordinator Joe Lombardi. Those are two things that stood in the way of the Chargers reaching their ceiling last year. Now, Kellen Moore takes over play calling. He is the perfect coach to help Justin Herbert become an MVP quarterback, in my opinion. I think Kellen Moore is the perfect coach for that. Plus, a more consistent Chargers offense allows Brandon Staley to focus on making the final tweaks necessary to make the Chargers a great defense. Even if all of that goes right, no one is betting on the Chargers to have good injury luck. I can't think of anybody that's betting on them to have good injury luck. We're going to end with the Chiefs. The Chiefs are arguably the best team in the NFL, bar none. They should be the favorites to repeat as Super Bowl champions. While the Chiefs lost some key veterans this offseason, they also hoisted the Lombardi Trophy despite having one of the youngest defenses in the NFL. Growth from those young defenders and the emergence of an off-season weapon could make the Chiefs an even better team than we saw last year. But like Chad said earlier, does the departure of Eric Bieniemy hurt this offense? I agree with Chad in the fact that I think it does. Who's calling plays now? Is it Andy Reid? Did they hire somebody? I can't remember. I think Andy Reid's taking over play calling. Is that correct? So let's see if Andy Reid can dial up the plays. I don't foresee that Eric Bieniemy just left his playbook behind. He probably took that with him over to Washington. Um, but you know, Andy Reid is arguably the best coach in the NFL right now, uh, and will go down as one of the all-time greats. So I have this division going Raiders in dead last, 5 wins, 12 losses. I have the Broncos just above them. I got them going 7 wins, 10 losses. I have the Chargers coming in second, 11 wins, 6 losses, and I've got the Chiefs winning the division 12-5. So, Roger, your turn.
All right. I'm gonna go ahead and start with just Kansas City in general. Not much to say about them besides them just being the best team in the NFL right now. Because they're Super Bowl champions. Their biggest issue is that receiving core, and it will be probably for a couple years. They have the mindset of Patrick Mahomes will make it work no matter who's out there. As long as he has Travis Kelce, I think Kelce will probably play another 2 or 3 seasons. Hopefully 3 more seasons. And the departure of Frank Clark, I think, is going to hurt them a little bit, but not enough to really change overall that team's defense. I still have the Chiefs, winning this division pretty easily over the Chargers. I'm going to go ahead and go to the Chargers next. Kellen Moore going over there. I like his dynamic play calling. I think it's going to work better with that younger team overall. Yeah, they still have Mike Williams and crap, I forgot the other one over there. They're freaking trees, like Brandon said. But I think overall, this young team is faster paced than what the Cowboys were for Kellen when he's play calling over there. So I think it'll work better for them overall. And like you said earlier, Braden, that combination of Bosa and Mac on the defensive end, rushing you on both sides is going to be kind of hard. That middle needs to probably push a little bit harder than more. And I think overall the Chargers are going to probably win 11 games this season. I hope to see better things out of them now that most of them are healthy. Because that really was the biggest issue, is just staying on the field. Going to go to the Raiders, who I think will finish last. I don't think Jimmy G will play more than probably 5 games, just because of his track record. And that defense over there is just atrocious. They're going to have to rely on the guy they're refusing to pay, and that's Josh Jacobs, because I don't see them really doing much else besides running to keep that momentum going. But unfortunately for the Raiders, I think they're only going to win maybe 5 games. I think this year they're just going to be super bad, and they may be one of the worst teams overall. Now to the Broncos and Sean Payton and Russell Wilson, all this going on right now. So last season, the Broncos went 5-12, and I do put that on Hackett because I think his play calling and decision making was horrendous. The Broncos lost 9 games by 1 touchdown or less, and because of just poor management overall. I think Russell Wilson was very frustrated with that team and the environment there. He didn't help himself out by doing some bullshit diva stuff that he was doing. Sean Payne coming in and try to lock that down. I think the Broncos are actually going to be a lot better than most people are giving them. I don't think they're going to be, they're going to explode and go to the playoffs or anything like that. I think they're going to go above 500. I do see them winning 9 games this season overall. And their biggest issue is going to be, obviously, they're going to play the Chiefs twice. and the Chargers twice. They may take one from the Chargers, but overall, I think they're going to lose 3 games in that division, anyways. I we have so much potential, and I have so much hope for them, but our receiving core is so fragile. They're paper mache. They're always hurt. Never can really see them all on the field doing what they're supposed to be doing. Cortland Sutton on and off, Jerry Jeudy on and off. Tim Patrick's already off, so I mean, it's like I don't even know. Like we're gonna have to go to like the depth chart and pick out like the number 5 receiver to hopefully step up for us. Lil Jordan Humphrey, that's the guys. Marquez Callaway, I think may actually be able to step up this season for them. That's about it, really. Cortland Sutton's already listed as questionable in preseason, so it's not looking good for us, anyways. Javonte Williams and Samaje Perine, I think, are going to be a great combination if they both get on the field and just rotate. Javonte Williams, yes, supposed to be number 1. I'm hesitant about them bringing him back already, like Chad said, so early. I would rather him sit out till maybe game 3 of regular season just to be on the safe side. Then overall, I do think Sean Payton's going to do what he did in New Orleans and bring us specific culture and dynamic and bounties. And we're going to go out there and we're going to kill people and we're going to take over in a couple of years like he did with New Orleans. But no, I have it ranking wise: Chiefs, Chargers, Broncos, and then bottom of the barrel, the Raiders. The Raiders, I don't know what they're like. They don't know what they're doing. At this rate, just sell it to another person and have them start over because they're doing nothing with that team. They don't care about that team whatsoever. All right, opening up for last thoughts.
So,
Go ahead, Braden.
Chad, you might know this. As it stands right now today, do we have an update on Chris Jones' status? I know he was looking for a new contract. Do you know anything on that?
Let me vet that real quick.
I think that was probably one of the biggest question marks for the Chiefs. If they somehow lost him, that'd be detrimental 110%. Frank Clark was a huge loss, but I think a lot of people discount Chris Jones for being the second best defensive player in the NFL. I think he honestly is, just for his disruption and just what he does on the defensive line. But
You mean second best on that team? Because I can't say
Oh,
the
no,
NFL. I can't say the NFL, man. Oof.
No.
Micah Parsons.
TJ what? Either with the Bosa brothers. Like
Chris Jones is great. I do admit that. I just can't say he's the second best defensive player.
he's top 10.
I'd say top 5 at least.
To speak on Chris Jones, apparently, I think he's still holding out. And it looks like he's already starting to accumulate the fines associated with that. So he's paying the 50,000 per day in fines that he gets for willingly sitting out of OTAs and preseason.
How much money a day?
It's 50,000 a day for any player that willingly sits out during OTAs and things of that matter. That's something they implemented a few years ago. It's
to discourage holdout.
It happened.
Yeah,
It happened with
Le'Veon Bell.
Le'Veon. It
Yeah,
happened with
Le'Veon
Le'Veon Bell. Le'Veon Bell. I mean, that dude missed like what was it? Somewhere between $4 and $7 million from sitting out that season.
Ooh.
So even he came out and said, "Hey, that was a mistake. You guys, please don't do that." And now guys are still doing it. Chris Jones is doing it because he wants to be paid for what he is, and he thinks he's Aaron Donald money, and so that's what he's going for. Which, without him on that defense, it's going to be tough I know they can put up 50 anytime they want on the scoreboard on that offense, but that defense, there's going to be teams now that's got high-powered offenses that can come in and take care of that, especially in the run game where they used to not be able to against the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Also, quick thing, Kadarius Toney and Pachenko are slated to return by game 1. They're not going to even attempt to play them anytime in the preseason just to make sure they're not too injured.
That's all in well. That's a good thing. That's good. We want to see those players back. But here's the thing: it historically on record, players that miss training camp, OTAs, preseason, they don't do shit the entire season. That is historically recorded. It's going to happen to all of them. There's some people in there that, they're just that caliber of player that can come back and do that. Those two names that you just mentioned are not. They are not going to be coming in missing all of this time, missing all of these reps, missing all this practice, the timing, all of that stuff. It's not going to work out for them.
Oh, we don't know with Pacheco yet, because he came out of nowhere last season.
He did, but you forget they still got high draft capital, and they still have trust in Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and that dude actually he wasn't terrible last year, but the backfield was so split and they don't run the ball a whole lot, so you didn't get to see much of him. But Jerick McKinnon still there, Clyde Edwards-Helaire is still there. If Pacheco can't go and he doesn't prove himself in the first couple of weeks, Andy Reid don't give a shit to pull the plug. That dude does not care one bit. He's going to put the best players for the situation on the field. And if you're not it, you're not it.
Yeah, but that receiving, there's not a great receiver on that receiving core. So
a lot of people are putting their money on Sky Moore this year, and the other half are putting their money on Rashee Rice, the rookie, coming in and taking over as wide receiver 1. But we know Travis Kelce's wide receiver 1. So it does not matter.
Yeah.
See, this happens every year with Kansas City. We get this guy that everyone hypes up all offseason to come in and be the wide receiver 1. And dude just doesn't do jack squat every year.
Yeah, it happened with Juju. It happened with Sky Moore last year. It was Mecole Hardman a couple years ago.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Even when Sammy Watkins was there, he had his one good week like he always did, and then he shit the bed the rest of the year, even though they still had Tyreek Hill. Like it's Andy Reid is used to having good receivers when he was in Philly. Now he's making do with a better quarterback. And quite possibly the best tight end to ever play the game.
Yeah,
he's definitely Mount Rushmore. Definitely.
Yeah.
But quick thing, with that whole situation, like it doesn't matter what receiver, like we said, plays, as long as Travis Kelce is on the field, he's going to create so much disruption and be open in that middle. Teams are just going to let one of those receivers get open. Not even thinking about it, because who cares about Richie James, Justin Ross, MVS? Even if Kadarius Toney comes back, who cares? Like, they'll catch the ball. They'll probably get 3 or 4 catches, get you 60 yards maybe. Travis Kelce's going to get you 10 catches and like 163 yards or something like that.
But look, we noticed it. But we noticed it in the Super Bowl this past year. Like when Patrick Mahomes threw the touchdown pass, that little screen pass to Sky Moore, there was literally nobody within 10 yards of the kid.
Because they don't care.
Exactly. You don't focus on. Maybe it was a lapse in judgment on the defense for that, but it's 11 on 11 every single time you step on the field. That shit ain't going to change. Why didn't you have somebody covered? And I get if you got something happening over here going over the top or whatever. But Sky Moore was literally wide open with 10 yards of space around him. Walked it into the end zone.
Well, wasn't that the play that they put Kadarius in motion and the defensive backs didn't call it out, so they both shifted by accident?
Yep, that was the one. Yeah. That's the one I'm talking about. That's the one that went to Sky Moore. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey Chip, are we doing our playoff seeding just like we did the last one?
Yep. I'll go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to wait for Chip to have like a final thought. I didn't know if he had one or not.
Chip's not been much of a final thought guy tonight. He's just kind of chilling.
Yeah. I try to get my stuff out,
when he speaks.
When I speak. The AFC, I've got Chiefs, Jets, Bengals, Jags, Ravens, Bills, Dolphins. Those are the 7 teams making the playoffs in the AFC. Wild card, I got Jets beating the Dolphins. I got the Bengals beating the Bills, and I got the Ravens beating the Jags. In the divisional round, I got the Chiefs beating the Ravens and the Bengals beating the Jets. Championship round, I got the Chiefs beating the Bengals. To throw back to last week I had the 49ers winning the NFC Championship, meaning that it would be Chiefs 49ers in the Super Bowl. I have the Chiefs winning that game. My Super Bowl MVP is going to be Patrick Mahomes.
Travis Kelsey.
Mm.
6 catches,
you know
6
it'll
touchdowns,
never be
473 yards.
It'll never be anything more than a quarterback, and you know it.
Yeah, no.
Not Cooper Kupp won MVP, Super Bowl MVP.
He also had like 3 catches, 127 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
It's because they didn't want to give anything to Matt Stafford. They never
I
have,
wouldn't- I
never
wouldn't
will.
either. I
You
wouldn't
got a
fuck
point.
him.
You got a
Who
point.
cares?
You got a point.
It would have been Odell, but
No, it wouldn't have. His
Oh
ACL
no,
made sure
If
that.
if he'd have stayed healthy, it would have probably been Odell.
No,
If he'd have stayed
no,
healthy.
No.
You don't understand. His ACL would have made sure of that.
Okay, true. You got a point.
That
You
man's
got a point.
ACL is more fragile than the guy that sold SpongeBob and Patrick those chocolates.
Oh my God, a SpongeBob reference. Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Well, fuck it. I'll go ahead and do mine then. I got the Kansas City Chiefs #1. I got the Cincinnati Bengals 2. I got the Jacksonville Jaguars in the 3rd spot and Buffalo at 4. My wild card is the Baltimore Ravens. I got the Jets at 6. And it came down to the Chargers, the Dolphins, and the Titans for that 7th spot, and I went with the Chargers. I got Cincinnati beating the Chargers. I got Jacksonville beating the Jets, and I have Baltimore upsetting the Buffalo Bills. Then I have Kansas City beating Baltimore. I got Cincinnati beating Jacksonville, and then I have Kansas City beating Cincinnati, with Kansas City going back to the Super Bowl. And I also think it's going to be, once again, like it was last year. I got Kansas City beating Kansas City beating Philadelphia in the Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes, your MVP.
Anyone with
That's
that
what I
Drake back to back.
Pretty much. That's going to be a TikTok dance before you know it.
Go ahead, Braden. I want to hear what you got.
Let's see. All right, so starting off with the division winners 1 through 4 with the seeding, I'll go Chiefs win the AFC. Well, I'm sorry. Chiefs 1 seed, Ravens 2 seed, Jets 3 seed, Jags 4 seed. That'll be your top 4 seeds. Then with the wild card, I will go Bengals 5, Bills 6, and the Chargers at 7. So I don't really have the playoff projections, but coming out of the conference, honestly, it might be biased, but I do think if there's going to be any year whatsoever that is going to happen for Baltimore to go and make a run, it's this year. If you're going to do it, it's this year. You've got all your guys under contract. If it's not this year, then it's probably not going to happen. So I'll go Ravens, probably losing to Philly in the Super Bowl, but that's what I got.
I wouldn't mind a Baltimore Philly Super Bowl. That'd be nice.
That'd be fun to watch. Damn sure it'd be fun to watch two young quarterbacks that are mobile. That'd be super fun.
2 running backs under center.
Yeah. Seating wise for the AFC, I've got the Kansas City Chiefs at the #1 slot. I've got the Cincinnati Bengals at the #2 slot. Then I have the Buffalo Bills. Then by default, because of division winner, I've got the Tennessee Titans at the #4. So that leaves me with Cincinnati versus let's go 5. I've got Baltimore 6, Chargers 7, Jets. So that leaves me with Cincinnati playing the Jets, Cincinnati moving on. Buffalo playing the Chargers. I got Buffalo moving on. And Tennessee playing Baltimore. I've got Baltimore coming in as the 5 seed, taking out the #4 seed, which puts Cincinnati versus Buffalo in the divisional, which I think would be fantastic to watch. I'm going to take Cincinnati over Buffalo in that one. And then, Braden, I am sorry, I have Kansas City taking out the Baltimore Ravens and probably what I believe is going to be a very close game, high scoring, probably both teams in the high 20s, if not mid 30s. And that leaves me with Kansas City versus Cincinnati in the divisional championship round. And I've got Cincinnati winning that game. I've got Cincinnati versus Philadelphia in the Super Bowl.
Philly winning, right?
It's the only way Philly would win a Super Bowl.
It's so guys, it's even being an Eagles fan, it is so close. I think Philly does edge it out, but if they do, it's because of defense.
Yeah.
I think those offenses are very comparable. And I believe the defense gets the edge. So I got Cincinnati, Philly in the Super Bowl over in Las Vegas, and the Eagles taking home the trophy.
Okay. Right.
All right. Kansas City won, obviously. Bills second. I can't remember if I said Ravens or Bengals win the division. I think it was Ravens by a game or two. So Ravens 3, Jacksonville 4. I'm put 5 would be Bengals. 6 will be Jets, unfortunately, and 7 will be Chargers. So obviously, just going through it all, it's going to be Kansas City repeating again. I don't even care about the way it plays out for the playoffs. If anything, it'd be Bills and Chiefs at the very end, and Bills being Bills, Kansas City wins again. And unfortunately, I do have to pick the Chiefs winning again. Just because as long as Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes are together, I don't see them losing a championship again.
They're tough.
Yeah.
They're tough together, especially with Andy Reid behind the sheet.
Exactly.
So real quick, I just want to throw this out there. I've got Justin Herbert winning the NFL MVP, like the season long MVP.
Shit. Okay.
I got offensive player of the year, Christian McCaffrey. I think he's going to be the offensive player of the year. I got Micah Parsons winning defensive player of the year this year.
Yeah.
Coach of the year, Robert Saleh from the Jets. I think he wins coach of the year this year. Comeback player of the year, I touched on earlier, Damar Hamlin. And I've got assistant coach of the year, Ben Johnson from the Lions. So those might be some hot takes. That's where I see those
what about
potential
potential rookie? Yeah.
I didn't go that deep. I didn't have enough time to.
No, you're good.
Bijan Robinson. It's Bijan Robinson.
It's going to be Bijan or a quarterback.
They're going to give it to a quarterback.
If it's a quarterback, it's Anthony Richardson.
If it's a quarterback, it's going to
be Bryce Young.
No.
I think it's a two-way tie between Anthony Richardson and CJ Stroud.
Yeah.
I do think Anthony Richardson probably, because we know it's going to go to a quarterback.
Wait,
more often than not, it shouldn't, but it does. What was your question, Talon?
Okay, if you say that Bryce Young you don't see Bryce Young winning Rookie of the Year, doesn't that kind of negate your prediction of the Panthers winning the division?
No,
because no, for real. Because like if Bryce Young leads this team to the playoffs, you would have to kind of say
better
the
team.
quarterback might have a little bit. Doesn't matter. I'm saying what the writers and what everybody will look at. They'll say, oh, they did this with a rookie quarterback. I'm just saying.
But just because that team wins their division doesn't mean he puts up the numbers to win that award.
Yeah, he's a better team overall, so they're going to do good no matter who's under center, I think, right now. Not obviously, I want to say they're going to blow it out and maybe make us all wrong and end up being like 13 wins out of nowhere.
That's what I'm saying.
But he was alluding to me picking them to win their division, but I've only got them. But I've only got them winning the division with 9 wins.
Yeah.
I mean, it is the NFC South, so
He's not Eli Manning, you know what I'm saying? He ain't gonna win 9 games and win beat the Patriots.
I'll tell you right now, if I'm picking an MVP and it goes the way I think it's going to go with Cincinnati running, I think Joe Burrow wins the MVP. And offensive player of the year, it's a dart throw and it's a sneaky pick, but I'm gonna have to go Garrett Wilson.
Not a
that's
bad
not a
choice.
bad pick. Absolutely
Garrett Wilson,
not.
I think right now, honestly, in my head, I think that's the best chance that a second year receiver is going to have between him and Chris Olave. And then rookie of the year, Bijan Robinson.
I'm not mad with that.
That dude's going to get he's going to get so many carries. This dude could have 270 touches this year in his first season, and it's going to be insane.
Yeah. Hook 'em horns all day long.
Who's your defensive player, though?
Yeah, who's your defensive player of the year?
Is it bad for me to say I don't give a shit?
Yes.
Yes.
Like I really don't. I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be T.J. Watt if he comes back and he stays healthy. I mean, the dude. It's just. I just think it's T.J. Watt, and if not, it'll be somebody like Nick Bosa.
For me, MVP for me, this might be a fucking throw at the dartboard too. I think MVP might be Jalen Hurts. I think he has the potential to be MVP because of the weapons that he has around him. I'm going to throw my offensive player of the year again. Throw at the dartboard, see which sticks. I'm gonna say Jamar Chase in Cincinnati. Defensive player of the year, either Nick Bosa or Micah Parsons, probably. Comeback player of the year, obviously DeMar Hamlin. Coach of the year, my opinion, I think Dan Campbell's going to get coach of the year. Rookie of the year, Bijan Robinson, maybe Bryce Young, maybe CJ Stroud. Who knows? That's kind of up in the air. But I feel like for the last 2 seasons, it's like the defensive rookie of the year has been like 2 years ago, you knew it was Micah Parsons. Last year, you knew it was Sauce Gardner. This year, who is it going to be? I mean, hell, it might be Jalen Carter coming out of.
Should have been Sauce Gardner.
I'm just saying it was Sauce Gardner. That's what.
And 2 years ago, it wasn't definitive that it was going to be Micah Parsons because that's when T.J. Watt had his breakout year.
Yeah.
As a defense, was it his rookie year?
No, it wasn't T.J. Watt. Okay.
Then he would have won rookie defensive.
That's what he was
saying.
He was talking about defensive rookie of the year.
I didn't hear him say rookie. My bad.
Yeah, nobody really listens to talent, so that's understandable.
Fuck you, Chad. Anyway, but yeah, those are my picks right there.
All right, Ray, what are your awards of the season?
So we'll go top to bottom. Come back, obviously, we've got DeMar Hamlin. Coach, I loved the Robert Saleh pick. Usually, coach of the year is designated through the turnaround with the teams. Like we're looking quick. So if the Jets are on all cylinders, it's going to be correlated with Robert Saleh and what he's doing with Aaron Rodgers. I want to be a little different for offensive rookie. Don't really want to go chalk and be Bijan. Just want to be a little different. I'll actually pick Jahmyr Gibbs. I think that Dan Campbell definitely has a plan with him. I mean, for the love of God, you're not taking him at 12 if you don't have a plan for that kind of offensive weapon. We do know that quarterback is a chalky pick for it, but let's be a little bit different. Defensive rookie of the year. Typically defensive rookie of the year is guys that are taken in top 15 below. So we're gonna look at draft capital here. Typically it's guys who get sacks, but we'll go a little off brand and go a little bit of a long shot. I'll go with Devon Witherspoon, cornerback out of Seattle. He's another guy who could come out and be really, really good with across the other side of the field from Tariq Woolen. Really good man coverage guy, came out of Illinois. Really, really good pick for Seattle. defensive player of the year, take your pick of the edge rushers. I mean, who's going to get the most sacks and disrupt the most? I mean, I went TJ Watt before he went and got hurt last year. Dude was just balling. I mean, take your pick. Uh, Chad's pick of offense player of the year, loved it too. Went Garrett Wilson. It just comes down to Aaron Rodgers just dicing up people with Garrett Wilson and then put up numbers. And then MVP, I think this one's pretty different. You take the top tier quarterbacks, it's quarterback award again. But the reason I go Jalen Hurts this year is because I think with the harder schedule with them finishing at 1 in the East last year, if you notice last year, I think they took a ton of their starters out halfway through the game because shit, you're whooping ass. And I mean, you're already up by 20 points, so go ahead and get in. So I think it's asking more out of Jalen Hurts, put up more numbers, put up more offense.
All right, I'm gonna go through mine real quick. MVP is going to unfortunately be Aaron Rodgers. They're gonna blow him to the end of the season. Even though he's not gonna win a playoff game again, so it doesn't even matter. From there, offensive player of the year, I'm actually going to go with Christian McCaffrey. Also, now he'll have a full season with a team who's set to win. Excuse me. Now offensive rookie of the year, yes, Bijan, but I think that Zay Flowers actually has the potential to be up there once Odell Beckham's hurt, and he's going to take over that number 1 spot at Baltimore. And I think that the confidence that Lamar is going to bring to that team is going to help him in his first season, and it's going to bring it out of him. Defensive rookie, we don't know. It's hard to say defensive rookie of the year, but defensive player of the year, I'm going to go with Micah Parsons. I think he's going to want it more this season since he got edged out last season. And comeback player, Hamlin, of course. Coach, I am also going to go with Dan Campbell. Once the Lions win that division, I think they're going to see that they're going to give it to him because of that. Taking him from a team that wasn't winning to team barely in the playoffs to winning a division and such a quick turnaround for a team nobody had confidence in, even last season. And then what am I missing? What was it? I think that was all of them right there. That the ones that matter at least.
Yeah, I think you covered them.
Yeah.
Just want to throw this out there real quick. Will Anderson could be a dark horse defensive rookie of the year.
Absolutely.
He could.
Absolutely.
My only thing was defense rookie of the years is a lot of times they if they don't make an impact immediately, they're overlooked. They could have a great season overall, but if they're not, being like Sauce Gardner, who, I mean, it really doesn't matter in general, or Micah Parsons style. Like, you have to make the impact so immediate, so early on, that even if you peter out near the end of the year, everybody's still be like, overall, he did this for the season. You could have a game where you have, like 4 or 5 sacks, and then end up the end of the season still with 30 sacks. But they're like, yeah, well, he did this, this, and this. Like, overall, he still didn't do great, but it's weird when it comes to defensive rookie of the year.
Yeah. That's why I said dark horse.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I didn't say Jalen Carter because, he's coming out of Georgia. He could have been the number 1 overall pick, despite other things that was going on off the field. But he went to Philadelphia, and I mean, that defense is so stacked. Like, would he have the opportunity to play and be effective? I mean, because you still got Brandon Grant, and all these different other players. James Bradbury, Darius Slade. There's so many other key components. Not to say that he wouldn't make an impact, but would his impact be enough to make voters say, is he really rookie of the year, or is he just on a good defense where everything works like a well-oiled machine? Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I believe so because, I mean, that defensive line is stacked.
Yeah.
He might not even be a starter, you know what I'm saying? So
I mean, come in on like a third down or something situation, like a third and short,
nickelback packages and
yeah,
something
it really
like that.
depends.
Ward's very opportunity based. I mean, it's like what you said with Jalen. I mean, he's got all the talent in the world, but you've got all pro defensive linemen in front of him. So how much time are you going to get? And I think the problem with Will Anderson is you look at that defensive line and there's no one else. So as an OC, you just look at it and say, oh my God, there's the only good, solid defensive person over there. So let's just double team him every play. I mean, that's the tough thing with him is how many double teams he draws and if his athletic prowess can get him to the quarterback.
But double teaming him could lead to other people getting a break too. You know what I mean? Like he's like, oh, that's like when they had like 3 people doubling up on Aaron Donald and what's his name?
Leonard Floyd.
Yeah, like and then he would, make the play when it's like, shit, why didn't we pay attention to him? Okay, well, you check him. Okay, cool. Then you get to go, and Aaron Donald's like swiping 2 people away and getting to the quarterback. And it's like shit,
Yeah,
So
but Aaron Donald's such a rarity in general.
definitely an enigma.
So you're not going to see many teams throw a triple team onto a single guy in the line.
Yeah,
that's just stupid.
I mean, I've seen it
unless
done before.
Unless you're Mike McCarthy, you're not going to be stat stupid.
Well, Mike McCarthy's that I still don't know how that philosophy is going to work out with.
It won't.
It
won't. Also, now that I think about it, speaking of which, I think Zeke is actually going to have a better season than he has recently. He's going to get that LeGarrette Blount rejuvenation. He's going to knock somebody out. He's going to knock somebody out, and then he's going to go out there and just get touchdowns.
Hell, it might be his own teammate. Hell, it might be Bill O'Brien. Who knows?
But all right, that was.
I bet you would love to see that, wouldn't you?
Nah, if anybody puts hands on Bill O'Brien, it's going to be D-Hop.
Probably.
But no, thank you guys for joining us with this predictions. Just obviously let us know what your opinions are, what your thoughts are, who you think is going to win on both sides of the conference. Anything you guys want to say before we wrap this up?
No, I'm looking forward to the season. I think we got some pretty accurate picks both last week in the NFC and this week in the AFC. There were some bold predictions, but we'll see. I didn't say any names. You owned up to that on your own, Chad. But we'll see how the season plays out. I'm really looking forward to this season. As a Texans fan, I'm looking to see how well CJ Stroud actually does. How well does Will Anderson do? Xavier Hutchinson, and I'm really excited to see how well D'Amico Ryans does as a head coach.
You're missing a piece of your offense, sir. The catalyst of your team, Dameon Pierce.
I am of the mindset that he's going to be battling most season for that number 1 spot. He should have it 100%, but I think because they brought over Singletary, that he's going to be battling too much for that spot.
I mean, I don't know. Singletary disappointed me. I had high hope for him at Buffalo, and he didn't turn out great. It's not bad. He's a very sufficing running back, but he's more of a pass catcher than anything. So he might be on a screenplay or something. But real quick before we actually go out with the outro, next week and a week after, we've had 2 ideas floating around, and one of them is realigning the whole entire NFL to how we see fit. So each one of us is going to have a restructured NFL geographically or even just division-wise moving around, however it's going to be for how everybody's going to do it. And then after that, Brandon brought up the idea of doing something that most of you probably don't know, and that's NFL street teams, because NFL street don't exist anymore. But a 7-on-7 style team with the new generation of players, which would be amazing nowadays to play, better than Madden. So I think those are the 2 things we're going to do right before the season starts. So hopefully we'll get those episodes out, and then we can talk about week 1 right after that.
Yep, September 11th, 2023
7th, is it?
is the no, we'll drop the episode Thursday night before the first Thursday night football game, so it'd be September 11th. Are you looking
The
it
first
up?
Thursday night game is September 7th.
I
Yeah.
thought it was September 11th.
September
on.
11th is a Monday, I believe.
Okay,
Yeah.
then
I don't know
okay,
what
then I
calendar
got
you're looking at.
I got it confused. Never mind then.
He's
I
looking
thought
at
it
the
was
my
September
calendar.
11th. Yeah,
September 11th is the first Monday night game,
It-
which I still don't
7-11. That's probably why I got mixed up. 7-11. Okay, that's whatever.
I don't think we should be playing football on 9/11, but that's just me.
They got 2 games on the Monday nighter, right? That's why that's what they've been doing it for the last couple of years.
Yeah,
so.
they should have pushed that to a Tuesday.
They only do that if it's the Ravens and they don't have a quarterback.
Yeah, even though the Broncos had to put out a wide receiver there, but we ain't gonna talk about that.
I thought it was a running back.
He was not a
Wide
quarterback.
Wasn't a quarterback.
Nope. All right.
But all right,
with
Chip,
that
go
being
ahead.
said,
Yes.
please do not leave without leaving a like, comment, share, and subscribe on Spotify and right here on YouTube.
Make sure you guys check us out on all of our social media platforms: Facebook, X, Instagram. I got to call it X now because it's no longer fucking Twitter.
No,
But
it's still
yes,
Twitter.
Is it still
They just
Twitter?
they just changed the logo.
Oh, okay, whatever. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Check out the YouTube channel right here. Subscribe, click that bell to get notified of our latest videos. Once again, check out streamlabs.com/movement radio/merch and go copy some of the brand new merch. And also right here, movementradio.us, your one-stop shop for all things Movement Radio.
I am Chip Hazard.
I'm Talon Williams.
Roger Sierra.
I'm Braden Howard.
And I am Chad Quinn.
And this is Movement Radio.
God's plan.